Hi, welcome to Nollywood Film Club. I am Mr. C, a Viroko critic. I hope you're doing well. Um, yeah, so we're doing something slightly different in that we're discussing episode one. I say episode one. There's only going to be two episodes, so it's probably just makes more sense to call it part one. Um, but we are going to be discussing just the part one of this TV show. um, I didn't know it was going to be split into two parts. If in case you're wondering, why didn't you just wait for everything to be finished? Because I got a couple of those type of questions. However, discussing only part one has allowed us to be able to make predictions, which is a new segment that will be in this episode. So there, we there's some wild ones. There's some ones that I'm almost sure will come through. But yes, is it did birth a new segment. So I hope you do enjoy Nollywood Film Club discussing the origin, Madame Koi Koi, the awakening. I think part one, which I guess is going to be now. So welcome to the Nollywood Film Club. Um, we do discuss Nollywood movies every Sunday or a topic, but today we are discussing a Nollywood, I guess, TV series. Like, anyway, we'll come to that. In The Origin, Madame Koi Koi, as Tito puts it, coin coin. Sorry, I just watched the Tito video. You can check his channel out. It's a YouTube channel. He does reviews. Um, we will be discussing what we liked. We'll discuss what we don't like. We'll discuss pushback if we have any, and then we'll do predictions, and then we'll do summary. So there's a chunky bit of segments to go through. We've just obviously there's only part one, but I think it's going to be interesting for people to make predictions, and part two will come back to see how we've done and on some of this. But yes, I'm actually excited to see how this discussion goes. There's lots of things that have come out because of this. But let's just kick off. Lots to discuss, lots to talk about. Um, Starting with Vanessa. Vanessa,
Oh,
what?
this is one of these weeks where I wish I wasn't the first person to show up.
Oh,
But okay. Things I guess I liked. Um I guess I liked much of the way this was shot. Um Nothing really like, but then again, I'm not an expert on this, so, but nothing really stood out to me as like offensive with like the cinematography and like the framing of a couple of shots. Like nothing really was like offensive to my eyes. So there's that. Oh yeah, I don't know if this was like a like, but yeah, I guess it's a like. I was excited to see. Oh, why is my his name getting out of my head now? I know his name. I know his name. Uh, D Baba. I know his name.
the Baba.
Oh my God. He has an Igbo name. I'm just
Chukwuka be what's his name?
Chukuk. Yes, he's Chukuka somebody. That's the thing. I'm so excited to see him. It's been a minute. I think a he's been a consistently good Nollywood actor over the years, and he deserves more from the industry. And the industry, you people are foolish for not using him more. Um,
Was he the one in from The Man of God?
yeah, he was. He was.
Okay.
He was. Um, he is the better Babatiwa from Skinny Girl in Trances. We're not going to mention what Nobet Young did, but I just was excited to see him. I liked him in this. I liked even though, even though some of the execution in the scene where he went to speak with Sister Ruth was a little but I did enjoy his interaction with her and like him begging her. Literally, I was like, Joe Ruth should have been what this part one should have been called. It should have been Ruth Joe. That I enjoyed him in this. we didn't see enough of Sister Ruth to make any opinion on her performance. But the one scene, I liked how much she said without saying anything. Um, so yeah, the the look in her when she opened her eyes from praying, and when he said the thing has come back, the Ebola has come back, and then the immediate jumping right back into muttering her prayers because she's not going to deal with that. I liked that scene, and her performance in that scene. As a general, I guess I liked Ireti Doyle's performance as Mother Superior. Not as religious as I would have liked it to be, but we're in the good, so I'm gonna skip over that. We'll get to that in the bad. But I liked her performance in this. This should have been called a masterclass in gaslighting. Um, every single scene was there is no war in Basing Say, and I quite liked it. She again on that note, as a good, she seemed to be the only well developed, and that is me being very generous, but the only character in this that didn't feel one note. Like it seems like a lot of thought was put into Mother Superior as a character, and I guess it makes sense because she's quite central to this. So I don't know, I guess I enjoyed Mother Superior as the concept of her, whatever. What else was a good? Some of them. So the sleep paralysis scenes, I kind of liked, and I appreciate that kind of angle to this. There's quite a number of people who deal with sleep paralysis. My I think my cousin deals with it, but and I think my mom as well. But I guess I appreciated that that was an angle that they took to this. Um, they could have very well just gone with this being premonitions, which probably they are. I don't know. But I appreciate the sleep paralysis angle to it because I know when the trailer came out and people were like, why isn't she standing up when whatever it is approaching her? And it's just that she can't move. So I guess I appreciated that angle to it. What else? What else did I like? Oh, Miss Chatterbox. What's her name in this? Is her name Ibuku? The
You mean
bunkmate.
Amanda?
Edna,
Edna,
exactly.
Edna Loruko, baby. Edna Loruko. That's her name. Her name is Edna. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I kind of sort of liked her performance in this. She's very much the Chatterbox secondary school babe, so I liked it. Um yeah, that's it for me.
All right. Okay. Last to agree, last to disagree, and we shall get there.
You know what? Even me, I disagree with myself. So you don't have to do too much.
All right. Thanks for that, sir. Rotimi, please tell us some things you liked about Madam Koiko.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So, first disclaimer, I'm going to come out with the writer and director is a personal friend of mine. Literally, me and him stay on the same estate. So, most of the time when I'm having my conversations about Nollywood, he's him. I have those one-on-ones with. Though I didn't see this movie before it was released, I knew when it was shooting. So, first disclaimer. So, anybody wants to accuse me of anything, should please go ahead. First of all, I like first of all this premise, the idea of using quote unquote, I don't know, should I call it an urban legend, the idea of using Madame Koi Koi. When I was in secondary school, we used to call it Madame Couscous, but yeah, so that thing kind of created a lot of relatability for a lot of viewers, for a lot of people. So a lot of people have heard about Madame Koi Koi and were interested to see what this movie was about. I like that. First, there's two standouts for me is Auntie Ireti Doyle. Her performance from this was like, was just it was good. It was very good. I like I also like this boy, the person now I love to that has now become the worst person. The person I want to see die the most in this thing has to be Chooks Joseph as Lachelle. Like, I don't think in a while that I've seen a character I'm like, okay, anything that happens, I don't want to jump into the prediction mode, but that guy has to die. Anything that does not involve Lachelle and his two minions dying, then that's just horrible. Two of them, all of them must die. There was a lot of I hope your time, Mr. C, I have a time limit now.
Yeah, so today of all days where there's more sections.
Just mark me. Just let me know when I'm done. A lot of things I like in terms of art design and just choice of location. The having the film, the setting of the film, most of it happening within the school, just for props and art design, the bunks, the beds, the school uniforms. I liked all that. Also for the time period they were setting, they had things like small things like details like the Volkswagen, and I think there was a Mercedes Benz or anything. Small things like that. The choice, the phones that Retidor was using in their office. So elements like that also work for me. There's a part like in terms of the writing, though I can still join that in part of my bad section, but it was like the kind of the character motivations, like specifically like Doyle, like why she's basically gaslighting everybody because her motivation is to keep the school open. So this boys, the smartest kids in school, we accuse them of rape. Okay, do you know what happened? I'm not sure what happened, but these are the kids that represent me in the quiz. Okay, I'm going to let them go. I'm going to just pretend I don't know what's really going on, or assume that like well, basically for Ibukun's character is like, okay, I don't know what you want to do with those boys inside the bush, so I can't even speak to what really happened, which was just crazy. But it also still makes sense that I think even recently last year something happened in the secondary school, and the first inherent thing is to protect the school, to protect the reputation of the school. So a child goes missing, there's no child missing. Oh, somebody got raped, we don't know what happened. Okay, they accuse you of this. Oh, no, that didn't happen. That was just okay for me in terms of the writing. In the cinematography, there are some very good like camera movements, especially for when the girl I forget the main character's name, but like when she's waking up, there's like this thing where the camera rotates. That was nice. There's one particular shot I really love the camera movements when the boys were playing football. They walked under the tree. Everything is in one shot. They walked under the tree. They walk. Then you see Ibukun coming in their background. They walk towards Ibukun. The camera goes 360. Then Ibukun stands still. Then you can see the Baba coming behind them. That was nice. Still doubling back to Chooks and in terms of his own character, the thing that really tripped me minus his assaults on the is his lying. Is the trip about like every time when his character they meet him and it goes from like just he lies in like 0 to 100, the story changes, he switches his character and starts lying about what he understand what is going on. That was kind of nice for me. I also like the trigger for Madame Koi Koi. Whenever she shows up, you always have this red lighting coming into place and everything. That was also very nice. That okay, almost like our visual code. That when we see that red light, we know that okay, this is she's in the environment. The also I liked something and the editing, especially when the kids, everybody was discussing about the rumor about the body that he found in school, how it went from the students to the teacher to off the radio. Just that part sequence was also nice. Is there anything again? I liked the part when the junior was lying down on that bed, and I'm like, for anybody that's probably gone, I like that was my kind of secondary school. I went to an FGC, and yes, I probably have been maybe in that position where that kid was, and I'm like, yes, that's a real secondary school. That's the secondary school I can relate to. Um, I think that maybe also for this when the film ended, this part one ended, I was like losing my mind. I'm like, okay, why did they divide this thing? But I think that it's also still good because this film is didn't have much anticipation coming into it. I think that just dividing this into two, kind of for the people that have seen the first part, just kind of build up a lot more anticipation for seeing the part two, just on a business, just like on a anticipation for the audience that what's going to happen. I think that's nice. And I think I will stop for now. If I remember anything, I'll come back to it.
All right. Thanks, Rotimi. Elizabeth, please, can you tell us some of the things you liked?
Okay, so talking about the things that I like watching Madame Koi Koi. Has to be the nostalgia, guys. It has to be the nostalgia, the bongs, the uniforms, the school environments. Just it's very familiar. And I really appreciate that considering, we've had a lot of Hollywoodification going on. So I appreciate that. Two, the atmosphere. So there's something about the atmosphere that felt I wouldn't exactly say this is horror. I don't think it sort of like there's something that I missed the mark, but there's something about the atmosphere that makes it feel eerie enough. Especially the editing, when Madame Kwekwa is coming um and what's her name? The whole sleep paralysis thing. I like the editing there, the lighting. And most of the time the editing for the gory parts, even though I have questions, the supposed gory parts, even though they didn't spare us the rape scenes, but the gory parts where slashes were happening, I don't mind those. I like that. So overall, the atmosphere felt eerie, and then maybe the idea of this happening in a small town, rural town, everything really just added to like the atmosphere of the film, the color, the background and all that. So what else did I like? Editing. Some of the editing actually worked. We'll get into some things later, but I felt like this was just at the cusp of something, right? There was something right there. I mean, it could have been greater, but those things in the colors and the editing that made it almost there, I thought it was good. It was done well. Some of the acting, I really appreciate it. What else did I like? I think the sound, the music, let me use the word. It works for these. Like it was fit for purpose. There was no Spotify rotation going on, so I'm grateful. Don't ask me why. I just feel like a lot of times, like the music just misses the mark, but this worked. This is one of those things, all things working together. So I think every aspect of this sort of elevates, intending to elevate this film is just right there. I am impressed with the take on this, taking on the subtext of, abuse. I don't mind that it's all men that have been dying. Shoot me. The subtext, I really don't mind it. I just feel like, sometimes it's over the on the nose, but we'll get to that later. But I like, I do appreciate the take on this. I think everybody has like different takes on origin. I know that was not what I was hearing. Something similar that I heard in school, but this is just like similar take on it. So the origin, and most people don't. I've seen that a lot of people didn't like the idea of her, of the koi koi. Look, I know a lot of people were expecting to hear stilettos. I don't mind the block heels that was happening in the late 80s, 90s koi koi thing going on. And I see that she has one of her shoes lost. So you've got that flat heel sound and then these eerie giants. Personally I like that. I didn't mind. I think it's a different take. I think it works for me. What else do I like? Edna. Edna as a Confucianist. She works. She has something to say. I don't mind. I like to see representation on screen. Let's have something to say too. So yeah, that works for me. That's all about all my like things.
All right. All right. Thanks, Elizabeth. There's so much to talk about, and honestly, there's a lot that this series has done that brought up for discussion. But yes, I'm glad we're getting into it. Chinweke, do you want to?
Hey everyone. So okay, so what I liked about the movie, I don't even want to use the word liked because I loved a lot of things about it. But I think first and foremost, what I really loved was the nostalgia of it all. Like it took me back to a happy place. So it was really, it was. I think movies are about the movies that I remember are the ones that make me feel. And this one made me feel very nostalgic, and you can't really go wrong with nostalgia. There was also the performances by. I really liked Edna's character. She was really like it was very very relatable. Like I know someone like I know a couple of people like that. Like and a lot of the characters there were characters you could relate to. It was a Nigerian story. It was our story. So I loved seeing it being represented on screen. And I also love the intentionality of it all. Like this was done by someone that knew what they wanted to do, knew how to do it, and then went and did the thing. Like it was there was brilliance and expertise on display. Um, there's a lot of things that I really liked. It's hard to really point out everything, but I also want to point out there's this Idowu's character. In the part in that scene, there was this part where his character was showing conflict. Like he was torn in between pleasing his friends and then the morality of what he was doing. So like that particular part, like that was really I'm a sucker for subtle acting. So that really stood out for me. A lot of other things, including the cinematography, as someone has mentioned earlier, the editing was really, really good. Like there were a lot of really good things about it. And I love that it also gave us a lot of memorable characters from Iretido's character to Edna's character to Idowu to a lot of other things. So those are the things I really loved about the movie. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you. Nollywood must change. And please, can you tell some things you liked?
Okay. What I like about this movie, I think I like okay, I like the the main villain in this movie, the original Miss Coco, which is Lashe. I kind of like it's the character, and I think it did what they wanted us to, wanted us to feel with it. So it's the original Miss Koi Koi, Madam Koi Koi. Sorry. So I like that this movie had new faces, and they did well. The performance wasn't that not bad. Performances were not bad, and then the old faces, kind of people we know, they were okay. Um, I kind of like uh, um, this guy, the guy who took the girl, the sexually assaulted to the. I kind of like the way he performed there, his face, we felt what he was trying to communicate. So that is what I like about this movie. The scene where that boy was lying under the bunk, I like that scene, and it showed how boarding school life is kind of. What else do I like? Um, I kind of like Iriti does performance, even though I really kind of feel somehow about the characterization in a way, but I like the performance. The sister who was always praying and doesn't talk, I like her. And the performance was okay. I think that's all.
All right. Thanks. Nollywood must change. I think next is I'm going to go with Wayne's rant.
Can we all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'll be quick because a lot of the things that I wanted to say has been said. The things I like about Madame Koi Koi, the origins. First of all, I think I really like the authenticity. Hey, English. Authenticity. Yes. I think we saw Far From Home recently. And I have seen a lot of young adult series, and I think this is the first one I watched that it feels like it's telling my story. I'm looking at those the students. I'm looking at the bullying. I'm looking at the way they look. I'm looking at everything, and it screams like someone spoke about nostalgia. It reminds me of being in secondary school. It feels like a very authentic young adult story. That's one thing. I think people also spoke about performances. I have seen the guy that plays Lashe play this exact same. So if you've not seen this, you should probably see it. There's a series on YouTube. It's Schooled. It's on Danny TV that has it. Schooled is basically Far From Home and Madame Koi Koi fused into one film. And the guy that plays Lashe plays the exact same character. I mean, not as bad, but he plays the exact same character in that film, in that series. And I really liked his performance. I like, like people have said, Ireti Doyle's performance. Although there are things about the performance that I don't really agree with, but I like the acting on a general. A lot of films we see has bad acting, like the average, and then one or two good performances. But this has, I think, good acting overall. Finally, I think I think someone spoke about premise, so we can ignore that. I think I like the story direction. Oh, okay. Let me just really point out. Someone also said this. Since I said there's nothing for me to really say. Someone spoke about cinematography. I liked some of the shots I saw. We spoke about intentionality, I think, like 2 weeks ago, where we're like, we just want filmmakers to be intentional and like put in effort. And you could see in the shots in this film that the filmmakers, the director, the DOP, everybody that was involved in this, the editors, there was intentionality. They had shots, they had framing, they blocked their shots. You could see that these guys wanted to do these things. It didn't just happen. And back to story direction. I really like the direction they went with the story. I think the story was just really, really fleshed out. I don't want to start saying things that I didn't like, so that but the story generally was fleshed out, to be very honest. I enjoyed how eventual okay, so the person that plays Madame Koko, and I know we're not yet giving predictions, but I think it's pretty obvious that it's the girl that was raped at the end. I can't really remember her name. Miriam. No, Rosemary, yes. And I like that the fact that when I saw her, the outfit she was wearing, it's the same outfit that person was wearing in the end when she was raped, and the same way her hair was done. And so, like, I just really like the intentionality to the story direction. Like, all the characters that they put in there were put in for a reason. If you pause and check Idou's um, um, his paper, you will see that his name is just written as Idou there. There's no surname. And they mention it in the story. Like, have you ever heard him talk about his parents, his family? If you read through it, there is no mention of family. He just has a caregiver. So it's like this story was intentionally really put together. And I just really like the direction about it. Yeah, I can stop now. I'm done.
Oh, all right. Thank you. I was on mute. Thanks, Wayne Trans. I think next we have Otas.
Hello. So I'm very anxious about saying my good with only half of the story, but let us go. So I enjoyed a lot of the performances. They did do a good job of, curating an above average cast with, some people carrying their weight more than others, but overall the performances were definitely good. I really enjoyed Iriti Doyle. The villains really stole the show here. Iriti Doyle gave a really good performance, just sort of being like a quiet menace. She never really yells or raises her voice, but she's really very much present throughout the whole story. Last year's performance was great. He did a good job of switching between being sickeningly sweet to menacing in quick successions. And I enjoyed how the teachers even reacted to it. You can kind of see that they don't buy it, but they can't challenge it too much. Because, for whatever reason, Lasha is a favorite. Well, because he's good at math, apparently. So, yeah, the cast is on average really solid, with those two being my favorites. But some honorable mentions. Amanda does a good job of like embodying the situation she's in, which is sort of like new, trying to find her feet, but also dealing with this overwhelming fear because she's having these nightmares and she doesn't quite understand what is going on. Edna does a good job of towing the line nicely between, this school isn't so bad, but also, maybe here are some asterisks, and just sort of being the friend Amanda needs, trying to find her way through the school. I enjoy some of the backstory and the connectiveness of, how Lady Quaker and the school might be connected. but it's really hard to judge a story without knowing the rest of it. And I like the cliffhanger that it's left on. It does leave you wanting to come back and find out the rest. I enjoyed having a school with teenagers who looked like teenagers, were dressed like teenagers, made up like teenagers, and acted like teenagers. And just teenagers in school, teenagers in boarding school, specifically from, the teenager under the bed, which everyone has mentioned a bit, to just in general how they spoke and how they acted. I enjoyed the commitment to the set design and the connectiveness to the time period they were trying to portray. And my interest is very much piqued by Trauma Chica's character being silent, and the story of how she lost her tongue as a child. So I'm hoping that's something that unfolds a little later. But Trauma and the older guy, he feels more connected to the story somehow, and so I'm looking forward to finding out how. But that's really it for me.
All right. Thanks, Atas. Inka, do you want to tell us some things you liked? Inka, are you there?
I'm here. I'm here. Sorry, I'm not. I am strong.
This is why I used
I
to
thought.
pass you by. This is why I used to
Huh?
pass you.
What
This
did
is
you
why
say?
this is why I used to skip you sometimes.
You're saying that to somebody that is strong. Like my body is aching me right now.
Oh,
How do
you're
you
strong.
feel?
You're not okay. One of those. Oh, you.
Mr. Season up.
No. It's
Wow,
when she repeated it. I
it's
didn't. I
very
didn't catch it the
nice.
first time.
It's very
Celeste,
nice. You're kicking somebody when they're down. Okay.
sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But you can still take Yaps when you're strong. It's all right.
Mm-hmm. It's nice. It's okay.
The time I
So
started.
it's okay. Just live with the guilt. It's cool. Um, excuse me. What I liked about the story, as everybody mentioned, um, I will bring up this show because it's ridiculous. What's the name of that young adult show that looked like it was an American show instead of a Nigerian one?
No, it's far from home.
Yeah, yeah. Like unlike Far From Home, this actually presents like a locally cultural secondary school that like Nigerians can understand and kind of see themselves in. I don't know what was happening in Far From Home, but it's cool. It's okay. Um, I liked as everybody mentioned. I also like the editing. I think they did some very good things with the editing. Although sometimes I do think that they might have. No, that's it. Bad. Sorry. The acting was good. Ireti Doyle was definitely given. Yes, she's a villain, but it's a villain that you can understand her motivations and everything. And she was acting very, very like well. The young man Lasher too. The young man that plays Lasher, good. Um, I definitely do agree that there was a lot of blocking in this, and there was a lot of planning, which is good to see that. It's good to continuously see that in Nollywood, because I will have to say this again. Tyler Perry doesn't have blocking in some of his movies, but this one had blocking, so it's fantastically more better than some of Tyler Perry movies. Um, I like the story. It was eerie, not necessarily like horror, out horror, but like I like that. I like eerie because eerie is unsettling, is unsettling, and that's kind of the feeling that you kind of want in horror. I'm not well. That's the type of horror I more watch than out and out like slasher or that. So I liked it. I really thought it was well nice. The shots of the assault made me uncomfortable. Which like if that's the goal, congratulations, very well done. Um, I like the what's it called? The costumings I like because it does give a certain kind of old feel. I'd um maybe the Beetle in 1991 maybe a little bit pushing it, but like I mean, but then again, it's an old town, and I don't think they might have the latest cars for 1991. So whoever was doing that, well done. Even finding the bodies, I there was some tiny little jokes in this of, but I think and it's a team, and this is one other thing I think I've said. Sorry, film is kind of like composition. I need to know what you're telling me. I need to know the themes. I need to know this. You don't have to hit me over the head with it. Leave things open to interpretation. But like this actually feels like a Korean composition of what the film the filmmakers are trying to tell or trying to sell. And I especially like the fact where we actually now meet the person who can be Miss Koi Koi. They introduce her with the red shoes because that's part of um the legend. And I thought that was a very nice way of introducing the character. Like something that it's an Easter egg that makes sense for the movie, you know? Uh so it's really well done. It's really well done. Um that's it. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Income.
Oh, you're welcome.
And next, a returning legend, Cynthia. Cynthia, tell us some of the things you liked about the origin, Madame Koi Koi. The iconic laugh.
I missed you, sis.
It's so good to see you, Cindy.
Like she's
baby.
laughing. I missed
You
her.
can't really see her, Vanessa.
I
This
don't
is
care.
audio.
Take
This
it
is
I
out.
audio.
miss
That
you,
take my family
Cynthia.
get away from here.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah. It's more that brought me back because I was telling Mom my stuff and she was like, "You better come out and say it because she's not going to help me say it." So, yeah, it's Elizabeth that brought me back. So like everyone has said, I honestly like the beginning. Like the beginning was very refreshing. I'm talking from the casting and all that. Like I was just like, because I've seen a lot of talk, a lot of criticism on Twitter. I was like, why are you guys hating? Why are you guys hating? So like just seeing a new place, or we seeing a village, we seeing a school, we seeing the dormitory, we seeing the we got to the office. In fact, for me, my major nostalgia was the envelope. Was that envelope with blue and red stripe? And that's because my dad was a civil servant, and growing up we used to have like carton of those envelopes. So I just felt like the beginning was too refreshing. They put in a lot of effort to see if they could set it to 1991, and I do appreciate it. For all the talk about Far From Home, yeah, same thing. The students look like students. They were on school uniform. They dressed like students. They had a dorm. Yeah, the beginning even had an assembly, right? Yeah, meeting the Mother Superior at 6 p.m. It just felt like a school, and it was really, really refreshing to see. I think the beginning was the best part of me. Was the best part of the movie for me. Then about Mother Superior, I also like her character, and this is because her character it was the character that was written with should I say motivation? We knew she had to go back to back with the state educational board. We knew she wants to put the school. We knew from the call that a school was closed and people were talking, and the man told her things like the rumor about students raping teachers raping students. Yeah. So we saw her motivation, and when she was doing everything she was doing, it was quite believable and enjoyable to watch. That was the only reason I liked her character. Her character was probably the character that had a lot of thoughts in writing, and it had the kind of motivation that was easy for me to enjoy. And even when she was doing a lot of cho 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 cho, I could like ignore it because we could see her motivation and we know why she was doing what she was doing. among the students, honestly, for me, it was Idowu. I don't know if I like it Lashe. It was Idowu for me. And this is because Edna talk took me out. It was Idowu for me. And this is because at the beginning or from the assembly scene, we have seen that Idowu was the new B because a certain person graduated. We have seen that Idowu acted like he was judging himself. Do I really want to do it? I feel sorry for this girl. I don't want this thing to happen. Even at the ending, after the whole rape scene, Idowu like walked out. I kind of liked Idowu the most among all the students. And when the first kill happened, I was pissed that it was Idowu that died. Okay. So Mother Superior and Idowu for me. Then also I think the kind of try to put an effort into explaining why Madame Quaker might be killing only men. I don't know. It's just me trying to look for like for them or try to look for good. But I felt like when I showed the last scene and we saw she was raped by men and everything, you understand that, or maybe I'm trying to think deep. I was just like, maybe this is why, as a revenge, or why she's coming from a vengeance, she really hates men and is against all the wrongdoing men are doing. I don't know if I'm thinking too much about it, but it also tracks that a lot of the killing happened in the same forest that she was raped, or yeah, maybe I'm just thinking for them. But I don't know. But it just felt like when I got to the ending, I saw the efforts and I was like, okay, maybe this is what they're trying to tie. Yeah, but yeah, in all, it was just seeing a school that looked like a school, which is debatable anyways. But a school that looks like a school with bunk beds. We saw them have assembly. We saw the students on school uniform. We saw the classroom. It was Mother Superior having a motivation of saving the school because the state educational board is closing Catholic schools, and they, or not necessarily closing, they want to be the one in charge of Catholic schools now. We saw Idowu judging himself, his morale, is this thing right? In fact, let me even go and look for this girl. And yeah, I think I saw an effort with trying to link the kind of people she's killing and the place the killing is occurring. Also, I also like how, like Elizabeth said, how Madame Koi Koi was more of the block shoe and everything. At first, I thought she was a werewolf when the whole earring giant sound come, it sounded like a werewolf. I was like, ah, Madame Copa is a werewolf. Like it's a mystery. Nobody knew who or what she looked like. We all know it was just a shoe sound and all that, and they were right to pick any shoe they liked. Okay, it's not like the pointed heels was like a big deal then. They were right to pick any shoe they liked. They were right to shows how they wanted the killings to look like. And yeah, so yeah, that's it really for me in my life.
All right. No, thanks, Cynthia. All right. Mildred, please, can you tell us some of the things you liked about Madame Cook?
Hi, everybody. So I'm so proud of the crew cast. Obviously, we fight for funds in this industry, and so what I want to first hail the producers and the director for making use of the little they have to actually create something that's worth watching and is memorable. And I imagine that if they got even more, I'm wondering what they would even do. You know, they would even do so much better. I really love that fact for Nollywood. One, second, the writing, story. I think they did well with what they put out there, just like everybody is saying. I mean, uh, also the intentionality of the production. Um, I'm happy with a lot of the set pieces. I'm happy with the cinematographer, which I don't say a lot about our films. The cinematographer did a fantastic job. The director also was intentional from beginning, from the titles. from the font, from the beginning, everything he was doing was intentional. The names being in red, all that stuff means something, and everything meant something to him. And those are the things I'm happy about when somebody takes their time. It's not that they take time, but at least they take us into consideration. Uh, that we want something that is that shows that they actually worked and that they don't take us for granted. So overall, the film, the series, I liked it. Okay, now the cast. Um, for having such a short time to direct and all that we get in Nollywood, I think Jay did a fantastic job with the the cast he had, because a lot of them are newbies, and and they had to have some certain emotions, and he did well with them. But for me, Irachi Doyle did so well. The girl's mother as well was very relaxed. I liked her. The lead mother, Irachi Doyle, did fantastic. She just was doing a dance there that I really enjoyed. I've tweeted about that. Um, I liked it though, and the nuances. If he's a new actor, he'll go places. One of my best ones as well is the guy under the bed. Um, Even though I think he appeared only once, but he was just very natural. The rest of the actors did well, but they're going to get better as time goes on. Um, uh, they did quite well considering um, the time they had. Set design, so intentional, and I love that. Costuming, good as well. Um, I think the last thing I wanted to say was pacing. The pacing wasn't bad as well, because most Nollywood films, a lot of Nollywood films, that's where we get it wrong, is sometimes the pacing, and um, generally trying to, if you are you trying to scare people, or are you trying to quicken things? What are you doing with the music? All that stuff. I think they did reasonably well there. I also like the music. It wasn't rude. It just did what it needed to do. And it didn't just, sometimes for films like this, we can start overdoing the music just because we're hiding, we're trying to use it to scare people or whatever. And there was something else I had tweeted before, that I liked the fact that they didn't do the Hollywood line. I know somebody said it earlier, that it wasn't about scaring you, it was just about telling a story. And that story gives you the heebie jeebies. You know what I mean? So those are the things I liked, and I really am happy that they were able to do this, because it makes me feel like we're on the right path. It's not just about screaming Nollywood is getting better and better, but people can't relate to our stories, and really, really, we can all relate to these stories. And one more thing, the themes, those rape scenes. I'm sure a lot of Nigerian boys or men now, um, they'll be looking at themselves in those rape scenes, because there's a lot of people who were involved in rape during during those days of school, and a lot of them, I'm sure, are watching themselves right now, and it's very well put together. You know, so that's it for me. Let me not take up too much time.
Thank you, Mildred. All right. Sorry if you're trying to join. The thing is full. But you can always just, if you want to add what you like, you can add it underneath um the space comments, and we will read it out. Okay. So for what I liked, Mrs. C is going to go after me. I think I've said, I have on my notes, it's one of the best looking film that isn't like kind of orange from this year. It's so we have generally this kind of look. We have this kind of look we tend to do, and if it's not this orange look, especially like the movies that have the big budgets, if it's not that orange look, they tend to not look great. To be honest, a lot of those orange ones don't look great, but I thought this looked really well, and it fits the tone that the movie was trying to tell. A lot of people I have here, there are very good cinematography shots in here. I wouldn't say everything on the whole is great cinematography, but like they have really, really good stuff. Ritimi mentioned the long take that when they were playing football. I thought that was really nice, and it's doing it without calling too much attention to itself, which is something else I really liked. There's a shot that I guess a lot less people are talking about, is this shot from when she comes. It's another one. It's not that long a take, but it's one where they're coming. I'm not sure whether it's Amanda or I think it was Amanda. Amanda is coming from coming into the hostel. Either Amanda or Buko, but I think it's Amanda. She's coming to the hostel, and the camera is and she goes to her bunk, and it goes from the top bunk, and then when her and Edna decide to come down to the bottom, the camera just follows her down, and it does it so effortlessly and so nicely. So it's a lot. It has a few of these really like great shots that don't shout, I'm doing, like people have mentioned the bed thing. I don't care for that, to be honest, because I've seen that it's not that exact shot, but I've seen similar shots to that, and like it's something that we've been doing for quite a while, and I'm actually it's not my favorite thing, but like it does have genuine good shots that are not trying to call attention to itself, and that I enjoyed. What else? I thought some of the best mixture of it has veteran actors and young actors since living in bondage, breaking free. I'm not in love with all of the acting, but I love this mixture. This is how we grow the talent and grow the pool, and not have, it's like still having people again. Almost in parallel to living in bondage, the antagonist in that was a vet, right? So it had Ramsey Noah, and in this one we have Ireti Doyle. Ireti Doyle has really good moments again of very good gaslighting roles, gaslighting performances that people have talked about. There's so many small things here. I think the rosary reveal from Ibukun, the character, just before she's about to have sex, that when she takes off her dress and there's a rosary underneath. There's so many small little textures to these things that show that these people put a lot of thought in the production of this. People have mentioned the production design. I think is also something that has done really well. I actually think, and surprisingly, I guess it's not surprisingly, I think I know why, but I don't think Martha, who plays Amanda, has gotten a lot of credit. I thought she was very good. I thought some of the dialogue she's dealing with isn't as good as the rest, but I thought she was a very, I think she's one to watch, to be honest, for the future. I think she does her role quite well. And I saw, especially in my second watch, someone that can do a lot in the future. I have here a return to practical effects. It's been, I don't know why it's taken so long, but it's nice that we're coming back to practical effects and not overdoing too many CG stuff, especially the things that we can do practically. So it's nice to see some practical gore. People have talked about Senior Lambassa's punishment. Amanda does some decent scream faces. Mildred talked about score, and some of my favorite things about the score was actually the restraint. But Mildred also touched on that. Sometimes what you can get distracted with is, especially if you have a nice score like they do, is just play it over and over and over again. And this actually showed really good restraint, and it just makes it pace. It makes it just feel more effective when it comes on. I love the I love the thing with Madame Koi Koi with one leg, one shoe. Oh, I love that. I love because like now what the sound is the koi and then the like almost like a hairy foot or something like that being dragged around, like a monster's foot being dragged around. I like that. I like that. That's what you're now going to be hearing, and I think it's a little bit more. It has a little bit more texture than just hearing koi koi koi, which is fine. I wouldn't have complained about it, but this gives it even a bit more personality. And I think that's it for me. Yeah. All right, Mr. C, is there anything?
There's anything I like that hasn't been said. But yeah, I did think this looked like a movie, which typically should go without saying, but I want to say you'd be surprised. But if you've been regular at Film Club, you're not surprised that that a film looks like a movie. Again, the set design, I liked the school, how it was set up, how it looked. I liked, what did I like? Mother Superior's gaslighting. I mean, I'm still obviously waiting to part 2 to see where she's going with this because there's only so long this particular brand of gaslighting can go on. But yeah, that was interesting. I liked that the students looked age appropriate. I don't know if I'm looking with my adult eyes, but I just remember like my classmates looking like that, right? I remember us kind of looking like that around that age. Like even the boy who plays Lashe, he's walking around with like huge arms and, all that stuff. But he still looks young, like 17, 18. It's like he still looked young. So yeah, as opposed to our Wilmer Academy students, and I said that just because of you, Mr. C, because you said we should try not to drag Wilmer Academy.
I didn't say drag. I just
said a challenge.
I just said a challenge.
Oh, okay. No, sorry, we can't do that challenge. But yeah, I did like that the students looked age appropriate. I liked Chioma Chukwuka's casting. So far our detective has not been atrocious. We have a curse of the Nollywood detective. I think it's just been fine. But we'll wait for part 2 to see where they go with it. But yeah, honestly, I think for me, I ended part 1 with I'm bummed out. I have to wait a week to finish it. So I think that's a good. I do want to see where it goes. Again, just I'm happy to see I'm happy to see Nigerian stories. I'm happy to see someone take on Madame Koi Koi. Anyone who went to boarding school has heard of Madame Koi Koi, but I don't even think you had to go to boarding school in Nigeria to hear the story of Madame Koi Koi in all its different variations. Miss Koi Koi, Lady Koi Koi, Madame Koi Koi. We've all heard of her. She's, there've been different versions of her. So it's, it was nice to have someone take it and take that on. But yeah, I think that's about everything. A few other things people have said. So.
All right. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Just want to also say the environment of the school. Yes. Also felt like the environment of the school also felt like a character. I like that. There's the going outside of school, breaking school grounds, going past into bush, that kind of thing. Yeah. All right. Okay. So now pivot to the things we don't like. Vanessa.
Hi.
Hi.
Um. Okay. So this is not a disclaimer. This is just a warning to every single person. No, not if you do me anything. I'm in my house. You can't beat me. Just letting you all know. Um. While I appreciate Nigerian stories being told and all the good stuff, yeah, so sorry guys. This wasn't horror, it wasn't a thriller, it wasn't eerie enough for me. And mind you, I don't even like horrors, right? It's not a genre for me. But if you say you want to scare me. I, I, so sorry for a film, and I said this on Twitter, and someone came for me. Well, not came for me. Tried to have a conversation about it. Agree to disagree, but for a film that says it is a horror, and while we are judging this on the first part and not a second part being revealed, and I would just like to say this wasn't promoted as a two-parter film, so this was how I went into it. For a film that says it is a horror, the Madame Koi Koi kills were fade to black. I'm confused by this choice. And there are people saying this was done to build suspense. So sorry. Maybe suspense was built for you. Suspense wasn't built for me. Rotimi said anticipation may be built. Sorry, I'm not anticipating jack shit. Not to be rude, offensive, or mean. And maybe this has a lot to do with how this was promoted, which was nothing at all. Zero promotion was done for this, in my personal opinion. For a film that is about a myth and urban legend that is well loved and perhaps well feared across Nigeria, the promotion that could have gone into this to give this what it needed to give wasn't done. And then you end up watching this and you're like, okay, you guys maybe wanted to do us a surprise thing and have us be whatever. It fell, it dropped. I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna speak on a bit of the characterization and a bit of the characters that were revealed in this. And I'm gonna say this. Granted, there's gonna be a second film and maybe we'll meet a bunch of other people. So I'm gonna speak only on Mother Superior. I know I said in the likes that there seemed to have been a lot of thought given to her character. While that is true, she became a broken record 30-ish minutes into the film. We had this one character who seemed like the writers had given all these thoughts to make her a fully fledged villain, have the same conversation over and over and over and over and over again. My ears began to bleed. How many times did we have to hear Mother Superior say the reputation of the school? How many times did we have to have Mother Superior say there is no war happening in Basing? Say nothing is happening in the school. As long as it's not happening here, nothing is happening here. She had this conversation over and over again with different people. Haba, we get it. I get it. You don't need to repeat the same conversation. That precious dialogue could have gone into something else. And speaking about dialogue, yeah, Nollywood exposition is okay. This is the thing, right? Especially with this genre, little goes a long way. There are certain things that didn't need to be explained. Like the characters will say something, and then the very next scene shows that exact same thing. Why? Choose one. Are you telling us or are you showing us? Don't do both. It's absolutely unnecessary. And as much as, sorry, Cynthia, love you, welcome back. I know you enjoyed, I know you enjoyed the first scene, but that car scene was really upsetting to me because it was too wordy. Too many words were said. And maybe, I don't know, maybe it's the kind of relationship I have with my mother. That conversation in the car, her mother didn't, Bolaji Ogumola, love her, so great to see her. Bolaji Ogumola didn't need to say as many words as she did. Amanda was complaining about moving. All her mother had to say was, you know why we're here. What does my father have to say? You say nothing. If the premise of this is my mother doesn't like talking about my father, then don't talk about her father. Don't say nothing. There's nothing to be said. Too many words. And it just kept saying the same thing over and over again. Talked about how Lashe and his crew are the most liked boys in school. And we had that conversation go on and go on and go. It's like, I get it. That's Edna's character. She's a chatty box. But like, it wasn't just her. There were so many words. Show or tell. You can't do both. This film did both. Um, and then for me, the most egregious bit of this, and I guess it ties into why this isn't a horror for me, and maybe it's because I just couldn't move past being triggered. And I know it has basically become a trademark for Film Club, and maybe we should get a laurel for this. But every time we have to talk about Nollywood and the indiscriminate use of sexual assault and rape and how it is handled, is this film about Madame Koi Koi, or is this film about rape and sexual assault in secondary schools? Because they spoke about Lashe and his boys doing whatever, terrorizing the girls in the school. And this is where good writing comes in, because there didn't need to be graphic scenes of sexual harassment and rape in this, as graphic as many graphic scenes as there were in this film, because they could have just said it. Because Edna said as much when she said every girl who seems to go around with Lashe and the boys always comes back crying. That's all we needed. We didn't need more than that.
Yeah.
And the only scene that maybe could have had a bearing on whatever this film was, and the only rape scene that had any bearing on what this was the final scene with Rosemary being attacked, because that then is the origin. If that's what we're doing, all the others were unnecessary, completely unnecessary. And so for me, the choice to go ahead and show fully graphic rape scenes and yet not show Madame Koi Koi kill, what are you doing exactly? How so what's the point of this? Because if you're showing rape scenes, not caring about how this depiction affects people, but yeah, you are being precious about showing the kills. Haba.
Yeah.
Haba.
All right. All right. Thanks, Vanessa. I imagine this is not going to be the last discussion on this. Just move on. But yeah, I hear you, and I'm with you on that. Rotimi, if you're there, tell
Yeah.
us some of the things you did.
Hello, am I there?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So there are a few things. So where are my minutes? Okay, yeah. So yeah, I think like I'm with Vanessa just a little bit, just based on the exposition and the dialogue. The dialogue. So I don't know if I'm leaning back into my good side. So it's like it still happens to revolve around Retidor, like when she's having the conversation with Baba and Yoruba. But a lot of times, like I just felt a little bit sometimes that the dialogue felt that you could feel like it was written. So, and there's a weird way that the way that sometimes that dialogue happens in Hollywood that doesn't feel is not natural. It doesn't sound natural. It sounds like something that was written, not something that somebody would say. So, and every single now and then the guys would switch back, either when the girl switch to Yoruba or the boy switch to Pidgin. So you're like, okay, that sounds like what somebody would say. That's this other thing you're saying sounds like a little bit like something that was written. Yeah, and also the exposition part, a lot like I think I agree with Vanessa on top of like which one is showing or telling, because it's almost like it's that some things could just be either from an expression or just if a hint, as opposed to as opposed to actually saying it over and over and again. I also agree, I think around the middle too. I Vanessa's kind of hit on what I kind of worried about was that for a period we kind of kept everything. The world was just revolving around Vertidor. And it was like back forth, back to Vertidor. Detectives come back to Vertidor. She talks to the people in the school. The Baba sees the detectives, comes back. Baba comes back to talk to her. It just felt it was revolving around her, and it was kind of funny because this is another thing for me. But I was going to probably put this in my pushback. The promotion of this thing kept like sometimes I think promotion is a bit misleading, and I'm saying this because of this whole because the promotion, it makes you feel like we're following Amanda. It didn't have, for a film that promoted, put a lot of Amanda in the trailers and all the time. It didn't really have, the focus was not really on Amanda. Um, what else again? Um, the very first time, the time when who's the first guy that Madam Koi Koi kills? Is it ID or IB? The very first guy she kills, the student, the guy that goes missing from the school. I just felt that scene being the very first time. I didn't like that shot. For a film that I like the cinematography, I didn't like the setup and layup for how, when he was in the bush. I just felt like the camera, if it was like a POV or from the camera's point of view, almost creeping behind him and he doesn't know what's going on, or from a first person view, I think that could have just been a little bit better. Apart from the red light coming on, you understand? Um, I don't know. I put this in the comment section. I don't know if Madame Koiko is actually a villain, which is maybe in a weird way. I'm probably going to look at that maybe in the second part and see how everything ties up together. I can. She feels almost like a, what's that word? This thing. What they call coming in? Yeah, an anti-hero. It doesn't feel like that. So that's also what is kind of when they tag things as horror, and this is, maybe I'm going to say this more about what I feel that somehow were expectations, and I think the expectations are built up from the streamers. And this is my own, just a separate thing. I've talked about this before. I don't think they know where to put a category for Nigerian movies, and I say this because Nigeria Christmas are Christmas, and it doesn't feel like Christmas. Man of God on Easter, because we're in Easter, we do Sunday Affair and Valentine. So we're trying to match these things to particular events and everything. So we do a Madam Koi Nigeria horror film because it's just the day after Halloween. So we say it's horror, and we are like, it's not, it didn't really feel like horror.
It was on Halloween. It wasn't the day after. It was 31st. It was on Halloween.
Okay, so that is where they are fitting all these things into, but it doesn't, like I said, somebody else says the story. I don't really, when I just started watching, I was like, look, I'm going to take the story as it is, not based on what they advertised it to me as. And that's one of those things that happens, that it comes, now misleads people, and they're like, oh, I think I'm going to watch it. I think I'm going to watch this Madam Koi Koi murdering and killing people. This is going to be this scary stuff, and they are leading you another direction based on the sexual assault, which now makes, like I said, anti-hero. So yeah, I'm sorry, anti-hero. Then maybe we're trying to say that because she didn't appear until after Ibukun gets raped. So it's almost, and then when you connect it to the end that she was herself was raped, it's almost as though that was the spark that was what made her come back after how many years that she has been away for. That's when the Baba's like, oh, it has started again. So, but what started it seems like after Ibuku gets raped, then Madam Koi Koi suddenly appears. So then that's probably creative liberty from the writing point of view to give it a different origin and interpretation. So maybe in my pushback, I'll be like, okay, but I'll speak more about that. So yeah.
Thanks for letting me. I hear you and I appreciate the convo. Elizabeth, please tell us some of the things you didn't like.
Okay, so actually share a lot of Vanessa's sentiments. So let me start from where where I stopped doing my good. Where I did mention the choice by the producers or the director, the editing crew, or whoever, to focus more on the graphic sexual assault scenes, and the eerie parts were cut really rather short. Apart from the old sleep paralysis scenes that has that eerie feeling, the gory scenes, the killing scenes, it just seems to happen so quickly. Like they are trying to protect us. Like you're trying to protect the audience from seeing death and gore. But somehow you think that yeah, the sexual assault, let us increase, let's let them have it, let them experience it. I mean, not that the entire it was that graphic, but still it just feels like I'm just questioning the choice, to do that. I understand that the subtext here is that you want to talk about sexual assault in whole, and then you want to weave it as a theme into the story, but it's just the choice to go with what. I really question that. And another thing is setup versus dialogue. Vanessa touched on that. Yeah. So rather than set something up, they just go straight into dialoguing it away. This is the thing with a lot of Nollywood writing. You see that, like, we've not seen the second part, but for most of this first part, you see that it's the three structure thing. I hope that we don't suffer the third act curse, but you see that there is, a semblance of the structure, right? But the choice to use exposition to finish us, and I think we keep forgetting. I do understand that. I do get it that Nigerian film making storytelling has roots in theater, and we are sort of like obsessed with explaining things away. But this is not the stage, right? Nobody cares. It's a disservice when you give your actors so much to talk about that we hardly see them act, and that's why in the good people we're talking about ID's internal conflict. I love that we could see that for him. But what about every other person? Nothing, because everyone is talking through their goal, their motivation, their backstory, their whatever. Everybody's just yakking away, just talking. Like, and so you're not giving your actors so much to even work with. You're not allowing them shine, except for ID doing that. And, we could see him shine there. But you're not really giving others anything to do because rather than acting, they're talking. So that's one. Another thing is the setup. So I find this very ridiculous because the detectives were not detecting anything. You know why? Like, it doesn't even look so any form of procedure here. This is, of course, it follows some form of in Noah. If you look at it in things, there's a femme fatale, and there is what's it called? There are detectives here. The femme fatale being Madame Kwekwe, whatever. Did detectives really sat in the office and Baba walked in? I said, yes. So I started talking. And in that moment, my brain went to 3 or 4 other ways this thing could have worked better. Why are we not seeing these detectives knocking on doors? Have you seen anything strange? People are shutting the door in their face. Oba said we should not talk to anybody. Like, so many things could have happened there where, maybe Baba had seen them and Baba really wants to get their attention. Could have sent somebody to them, or they could have apprehended him. Maybe he has been acting sketchy. So many ways this could have gone. But that scene where Baba just walked in and sat, plopped bam, on the seat and said, yakking away again. I'm like, here, to your law. Power. So, and here is the thing, right? Because you're taking me out of this film. I really like the setup. I like the color, texture, everything has been going on, but they just can't seem to stop talking. From scene one, and the talking now seemed so, again, almost stage performance-ish. So now I'm just there with them, just talk. I really did not enjoy Irritated Dawson's. A lot of people enjoyed it, save for a few acting here and there that I noticed. After a while, she was just talking and I was taken out. I'm like, good God. And so that's another thing about, Nollywood being just uncomfortable with silence. Like, we really feel like we have to fill every space with talk. Okay, that's that. The next one, the third one for me is there is no cohesion to this killing. Maybe by this part 2, we'll see if there is a pattern. But it didn't really seem like there's a method to Koiko's madness, targeting men drunk, somebody dead. ID's death, we would have thought maybe because he raped, right? Again, we've not finished, we've not completed. So really there's probably so much information we are missing. But for what we have seen so far, ID's death would have made sense right now, for now. But outside of that, the random man drinking, okay, maybe the people that caught her at night, so maybe she didn't want to see men out at night drunk. I don't know. So to me, I feel like there's no question for now. The Kwekwes motivation will probably see later. But from what we have been shown right now, it just seems like there's no cohesion to the killing. But the giant elephant in the room, Sha, is the Ejowe where it's just a lot. Just talking. Okay, Red, I'm done. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Can I go?
Sorry, but are you running off somewhere? If not, we do.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
If you're running off, okay? No, you can go.
Please. Whoever is before me, I'll be done in 2 minutes. So this is why this film club is good, because people point out facts, and I hope that the people that make the film don't take offense, because all of this stuff is on point. I hate to agree with Vanessa. I can't stand her, but I'm just joking. She's right with most of the things she said, and we're sort of all just repeating it. And the reason is, sometimes when you don't, like the car. Let's take an example, the car scene where she says there's a lot of talk. Um, I agree with her. And at that point, I was thinking that time should have been used, a little bit of it should have been used in showing us the surroundings. If you guys notice, I never saw the layout of the school. And these are things you do sometimes when you have good money. You can show the surroundings while they're talking in the car, so you can get more into it. Um, Now, all this talk, I think, is the editor's problem. That's why I didn't say the editing was that good, because there was quite a lot of repetitive stuff. Even I, as a filmmaker, I used to do it a lot, and I remember the person who taught me to stop doing it. If you said it in the first scene, don't say it again. But we don't. Sometimes we don't do that, and that's where the editors need to be good. They need to be able to tell the director, no, we've said this. Edit. You can even edit the conversation so that it can be shorter and more concise, and then you move on. Um, there was something else she said. Um, Vanessa said about it wasn't eerie, it wasn't horror. I'm not a horror person as well, so maybe that's why I liked it. Um, I don't think they should have even marketed it as a horror film, because I don't think it was. I just think it's a story that is a bit one of those things that is a bit weird. And if they didn't do some of the things Vanessa wanted to do, I think it's because of money. There's some scenes you you know how much it's going to cost you to make it look as real as possible, so you stay away from it. Um, I think, yes, that they could have cut down on some of the violent scenes, but I wanted that rape scene to be shown. I need this thing in the face of some of Nigerian men, because I don't think they understand what this does to people. So I'm very, very interested in seeing what happens in the second uh, episode, because if those boys don't get it, that's when I'm going to be really mad about them, showing a lot of about the rape scene and not punishing the guys. Um, that There's some production design was very good, but oh yes, sorry. What I wanted to say about Ireti was so good. So what I think they did was they always ran back to her. And that's what, when somebody does something well, you need to remember just to cut them off. Sometimes you don't need it. They, at some point, they went a bit. There was a scene that was so long, and she was carrying that scene. They could have cut it down. That's one thing I forgot to say. And you can have this opinion without and still say that the film was good. Um, I think that's it. There's more stuff, but I'm not going to take up too much time. The cast. So the young people, they're still learning, and so they have to learn how to give and take. A couple of them were saying their lines, even though they were acting it. It was acting. I always tell people you need to learn your lines so much that you forget that it's even lines. And so when you come on set, you're just listening to who you're acting with and taking it from them. I just felt that some of the young men just needed to just say their lines out there and act. They had something in their mind that they wanted to act, and they were going to act it, and it was going to be that way. These things are hard, they had to, the actors will grow and they'll get better with it, where it's so much natural, so much more natural. That's why I said I like the guy under the bed, because I felt he just became the character. So I want to see what every one of them does in future. Like you said about Amanda, yes, Amanda was really good, but I think the storyline was a bit unfair to her as well. She almost became a like an observer in her own film. You know what I mean? Um, and that sometimes can happen when you forget what the spine of your story is. When you finish shooting a film, you have to go back to the spine of your story and edit it following that spine. Because if you don't, what you end up doing is giving us so much of people who really are not relevant to the final scene. And that's why I think everybody's a bit annoyed at the fact that they kept going back to Ireti. I think Ireti made them a little too comfortable, just keep bringing her, and they forgot the spine of the story. But let's see next week and see what happens, and then maybe we can come back and talk a little bit more. There's some stuff I don't want to say because I don't know what will happen next week. You know. That's it. Thank you for letting me go on.
Thanks, Mildred. All right. Who did we have? It was Chinweke. Please go on with the stuff you didn't like.
Hey everyone. So it's been interesting to hear what everyone has had to say about stuff they didn't like, because there wasn't a lot of stuff that I didn't like. Um, One thing that I didn't really like, it's already been said, was the sexual assault scene. It felt like it dragged on for longer than it should have. Um, Honestly, that was pretty much it. And the fact that I have to wait a couple of days for the second part, that's pretty much what I didn't like. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks. Nollywood must change.
Hi guys. Um, I'm kind of like touch on some things people have said earlier, like exposition. This movie did a lot of like they were telling us things they were still going to show us. Like when Edna was talking about Lachey being smart, all that, and they went to class. Okay, that reminds me that classroom scene where the teacher was when Lasha was saying something, and teacher said, because you know it does not mean you should disturb the class, and then that girl says something, and teacher was not saying, okay, she's right. I was like, she teacher your Mokoto so the teacher doesn't know what he was teaching or what. I was kind of mad at that scene. Like, why would you write that teacher? That's teacher like someone doesn't know what he was doing. So then people were talking about the main character, the what was her name? I've forgotten her name. I didn't really. So I think the problem with this should I say show or a movie or the movie is that the characters are passive. They became passive characters because in a movie, I was thinking maybe the students would kind of add one to do one or add some scenarios together to know that, oh, something is going on in this school. Like they are the one who would discover Madam Kokoi, or they would kind of want to do something to find out what's going on. Their classmates, so the characters were passive. There are some characters in this movie that we don't even need, especially the detective. Actually, it might come in later, actually, but I was just like, why are they the one, doing this thing, and the students were just there to move the plot or what? So then Dababa being the one telling the story at the end, I kind of felt somehow because if the main character was kind of connected to Madame Koi Koi in a way, I don't know, maybe their spirits are connected. Why can't she be the one, to find out who Madame Koko is? You make her active, you make her, make it a goal for her to find out what's going on with her. Because I don't think she ever cared about having those scary dreams. And should I say this movie was doing too much? Yes, too much was going on in this movie. It makes the killing not, like Elizabeth said, the killing was not, should I say, they don't relate. A lot was going on, and they wanted to do. She was killing people in the town. She was killing people in school. I would have preferred if she was killing students, innocent students. Actually, maybe I would care about the characters. I don't care any. I didn't care about any of the characters in this movie. Seriously, the only thing I cared about was that Lasha should not rape the main character. That was my only fear. I didn't care about them dying. Anybody could die in this movie, and I would not care about it. I was just worried that Lashe would not rape. Okay, that was why I said Lashe was my Madame Koi in this movie. And then characterization of the mother superior. If you lose a student in your school, I know you are trying to gaslight people not to believe that it was a ID that was killed, but there should be like something you would, you'll be shaking, you'll be scared a bit. That was why I said I didn't like this the characterization of Mother Superior. She was one note. Um, this movie is not horror, like everybody else said. It's not a horror movie because there were more of these rape scenes were more, too visual than the horror thing you wanted us to see. Just shows people, someone fall to the ground, and then all that. So I wasn't scared at all. I was just scared about the rip. It was the rip that kept me worried. I couldn't even look at the screen. I was just looking away. Um, what else? Okay, I've talked about the classroom scene. Yeah, the teacher saying Lachey was right, and the later saying Edna. Okay, what was I forgot the main character's name. That the main character was right. I was
Edna, which one?
um,
Amanda.
Amanda. Yes,
Amanda.
yeah. And I felt the dialogue too was just too much. I heard the first scene when Amanda came into the school, she was saying, "I don't like this school. I don't do this." It was just so over the. It was on the nose, just too much. She was doing too much. I was like, "Why is this guy doing too much?" Okay, you want us to know this is a horror movie. You could make her just come into the school, to just look around. You will see the fear in her face or in her eyes, and she won't say anything. She'll just be like, "Your mother might come to she won't respond." Little things from the acting we would enjoy it, but you were just saying talking, talking, talking. I was just like, God, this movie is so that was my dislikes for this movie.
All right. No, thank you. Nollywood must change. All right. When's rants?
Can you guys hear me, or do I need to
Yes.
take off my earphones?
Clearly.
Okay. So let me make my list. I have a list. I watched it the first time, and then the second time I was watching it, I made a list of things I didn't like. First thing I wrote was this film is not horror. So let's just move past that. I started seeing it, and it's 1991, and I don't know how progressive Nigeria was in 1991, but a single mother that just lost her job having a car just felt very unlikely, especially because in the whole film, we only see two people that have cars. One is this mother and the detective. And I'm seeing them in this car, and I'm like, this woman has car, mad. Oh. Um, there are a lot of plot holes, and I just want to point out quickly some of them. The fact that the same students have been representing this school for 3 years in a row and have won it every time. Either all the schools in Nigeria, their students they bar, or there is a fundamental issue because these guys were in GS3 and they won a competition that um that is for the whole like secondary school. They went again in SS1. The same two people, because they say it's these two people that always represent the school. The same two people they won again. They went in SS2. It's like them winning it in GS3 against SS3 students. What were they studying? Let's just move on from that. The line I wrote was quite the exposition for a mystery. And it's like I think we already pointed that out. Like everybody was just talking. The scene where the Malomo radio comes on, it's in English, and it hits me like a slap on my face. I'm like, why is this radio in English? Um, and then it's we go to the school, we come back, and the radio is suddenly in Yoruba, and I'm like, this multilingual radio presenter, the lighting of the scenes. I feel like I didn't really know when the scenes were the night scenes or morning scenes. Every scene that was a night scene inside, it just looked like morning. Like I could see 5,000 watts of light gushing out from every single window that existed. And I know we have issues with the way we light our scenes, where it's like scenes are not really well lit. But I just couldn't tell when it was morning or evening. The only reason why I knew it was night was because people were sleeping. If people were not sleeping there, 100% you would think it's a morning scene. Yes, when she called all the teachers, there were 6 teachers, and like that thing was also very mad. Like, except maybe teachers don't attend meeting or something, but 6 teachers. I went to a missionary school also. In GS1, I had I think 12 different teachers. We had maybe, and because missionary schools, it's a thing. They are very, very intentional about the quality of education that goes into the school. And having the quality of education in this film, it just felt like they just kept saying, oh, we are, but they didn't, they didn't really even care about the quality of education. Nobody actually cares. It's just let us go and win the scholars competition with these 2 guys that have always been winning it. And yeah. Yes, okay. I wrote something that there are a couple of things that are usually like canon when you see horror. You see a lot of like POV for like the characters. You see like jump scares. You see gory scenes. Like it has nothing. Like I said it before, but it's like I just wanted to list it out. But there's nothing that you see in this film that make you think it's horror. Another line I wrote, and I'm reading verbatim, is like all these detectives dig back because they don't do anything. They just they are just like hi blah blah we want to ask you this question. And the person's like, no, but none of our students are missing. And they're like, okay, this woman cannot be lying. She's saying the truth. Let us go home. Why is this thing so hard? You are the detectives, you are the police in this scenario. You're supposed to come back. Aren't you supposed to tell the school to give you like some kind of like inventory of all the students that were in this school? And then aren't you supposed to detect like okay. And I know we say we don't want the Americanization of Nollywood, but there are 2 series that I've seen that are really similar to this. Like I said, I watch a lot of young adults this thing, so this is like kind of like my genre. There's Wednesday, there's Wings Club, and they start the same way. They start with a girl um being put into this new world because of whatever happened in our old world, this new world that has so many things that will later be unraveled by this female character. Hopefully, I'm not taking too much time, so I'll try to be fast. They have the same like car coming scene. So if you've seen Wednesday, you completely understand why the exposition in the scene with her and her mom is so much because Wednesday starts with, I mean, after like she kills, but like the beginning is she comes with the car with the Adams family, yes. And you can see that there was too much exposition here. Anyways, these people go into this world, and you can see that the story is unraveling through the eyes of these girls. In the Wings Club is, I don't know her name, that girl. In Wednesday, it's Wednesday. She is learning the mystery. She is learning, oh, the world is, we are creating this world, but through the eyes of our main character, our protagonist. In this story, who is the protagonist? Because we are just being told the story. And they make us think they're trying to tell it from Amanda's eyes because she's seeing it in her dreams and everything, but she's too passive. People have said that. So I would let that go. Rounding up, sorry, I really don't want to take time. Ireti's motivation, I used the
just make this your last point. You've gone on over time.
Okay, this is my last point. I'm so sorry. Ireti's motivation, I don't think is strong enough. In like Wings Club and Wednesday and other films like this, you see that the person has something they stand to lose. Maybe they are losing. Maybe it's like their whole family has invested in the school or something. But Ireti, the character, Mother Superior, willing to allow somebody die and willing to allow all of these things go on in this school just because she wants this school to keep running, that she doesn't have any financial gain or anything directly in. You get, it doesn't really make sense. This is my answer, so let me just end here.
All right. Thanks. Thanks, Rand. All right. Just going to read some of the comments that have been coming through. And if you want your comments read out, you can just comment underneath the space. A couple of rebuttals to start with. Jenna says, I swear it'd be killing me when the youths, hey God, show your age, you talk like the 1990s and the 1870s. Cars were extremely commonplace in Nigeria 30 years ago, and the single mother owning a car was not a big deal. Ava says same thing, basically, because cars were very cheap. My mom was a low-level civil servant and I had a car. My aunt was a nurse. Yeah. Okay, lots of car owners in the 90s. I owned a car in the 90s too. All right. Somebody said I was agreeing that someone's agreeing that it's more triggering than horror. Babatunde says they left the horror out of this horror film. Horror is way more than jump scares that quickly fades into black. Favhi says, I wish the dialogues in the school were more in pidgin, makes it feel natural for boarding school. Jessica says, I totally agree. The car scene in the beginning was explaining too much. Those details could have been revealed later in the film. And my tongue technology says, this could have been a normal 2-hour-long movie. I think some scenes could have been cut short, i.e. essay scenes. Some scenes were repetitive. Not sure why this movie was split in 2 parts. Yeah. All right. Where were we? We'll have time for pushback, but I do want to get as many people on as quickly as possible. So after Wayne's round, wait, what's one of this? Who is next? Who is next? You go next. If you know yours.
Hi.
All right. Thanks, Otasias.
Okay, so again, I am being wary about making any conclusions until we watch the next part, I believe tomorrow or next. But a lot of things as far as the origin of Madame Koi itself don't really add up for me. It's if this Madame Koi, it seems like she was present at some point in the past, and these murders had happened before. It doesn't seem to really play a part at all. Like the community doesn't seem wary, the school doesn't seem wary. If this person and these random murders have happened in the forest before, the students are literally just trespassing through this forest willy-nilly. So that for me is not really clicking, and I'm hoping they are able to expand it in the next part, but I don't know, because they've set so much up that needs to be resolved, and so I'm very anxious about Nollywood's 3rd part problem, and I would hate to have waited 1 week to then be unsatisfied. But if the rape of Ibukun is what awakens her, I don't understand why. Unless Ibukun is in some way related to this character, it doesn't really make sense that that particular rape is what wakes her up when we've already heard multiple times that there are other rapes. The school board lady addresses it in the first scene with Madame Superior, where she said we've also heard about the sexual assault. Edna mentions it when she's talking to Ibukun, sort of, when she says that every time girls go with them, it starts out happy and then it always ends, in tears. So I don't know, unless Amanda or Edna are somehow connected to the Madame Koi in some way, it's just not going to make a lot of sense. I know some people say they like that Madame Koi is, the color and the story, the depth that they've sort of giving the character with her one heel there. However, I have to disagree, because Madame Koi is a bad bitch, and a lot of the myth was that she appealed to, she drew you in with her appeal, But that's neither here nor there. I do appreciate the creative direction they went with it, and so it's not really, it's neither bad nor necessarily good. The horror should have been developed a lot more. uh the they spend so much time on adding flesh and color to the unnecessary rape scene that the actual things that should be scary are just glossed over. The only scene where they sort of add any color to the horror is when you hear Idowu in the beginning sort of slowly dying and gurgling on the blood, and the eeriness there, but that's really it. But we have to watch this whole gruesome rape for Eboko in the beginning that adds nothing to the story, that I can see again unless they're somehow connected. And it just feels a lot like a waste. Like the time and the color that should have been added to the actual horror is spent on these rape scenes, because they're both quite in depth. Like there's two of them, and both of them are so in depth and so graphic that it's very much just feels gratuitous. Like, I don't know. But I think the first rape scene was entirely unnecessary, and this is an asterisk unless you can show me differently in 2 days. And considering these are children, even though yes, children have raped people and etc, it's just incredibly hard to watch people you're supposed to believe are children or teenagers being raped on screen like that. um but yeah, I think my main issue with it is that more intrigue and horror would have really elevated the story they were trying to tell. But however, because this is a two-part series, and maybe a lot of this first part is sort of just building into the characters, which also I don't think a lot of happens. There's only very few characters who do get any color. I think it would have really stood out in this genre if it had attempted to actually do horror. But it doesn't really do that. So those are really my main bads. Let me think. Am I forgetting anything? No, I don't think so.
All right. Thanks, Atas. Anka, do you want to tell us some things you had issues with? Anka, are you still with us?
Yeah.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
So I had see, the thing is this, once how am I gonna say this? I'm so sorry. There is the camera trick where like the word flips over and then the camera flips and then the girl wakes up. There's been a couple of times where I don't know what's wrong with my phone. Hold on. Stupid phone. Hold on, please. I'm so sorry. Hold on. My phone is acting out.
I got one back while she's waiting. There was no urgency. That was the last thing I was thinking of that there was no urgency. A kid missing, possibly dead in a school uniform. The student body doesn't seem to care, or it doesn't seem to color how the villagers continue to interact with the forest or anything at all.
Okay. Anka, you
Yes.
ready?
Yeah.
Right.
Although I did have some issues with the rape because it was very, very, very graphic. It wasn't graphic, but at the same time, there was something about it that just made it very, very uncomfortable. And maybe that's the aura about it or something. Not necessarily, so it's like very real actions. I also had an issue with some of the camera techniques because it seems like it was more for flashy show than just, thoughtful reasons of how to shoot it. Like the 360 flip over thing, I think he used it more than once. And I was just like, okay, like why? Um, I also did notice that it was very expositionary and kind of a little bit repetitive, but it wasn't too. I don't think it was too bad. Um, one of the I kind of get why Miss Kokoi attacks the people, and from this I kind of know, like, Miss Kokoi is this is what it's a rape revenge story more than anything else. Miss Kokoi goes after men, but men that seems to ill treat and mass treat women. Because the drunk guy, right, was like talking anyhow, saying maybe this is drunk and is trying to sleep with a woman and like trying to be, and not realize that's not the person should probably be doing that too. The guy tries to steal from an older woman and everything. So it seems that this movie is more in the vein of like, I spit in your grave. And should it be characterized as an horror? Sure. Or it's like on horrific things. But I didn't it was a little bit too it wasn't it wasn't it wasn't as smooth as it should be. That's why I would say. Because there was a little bit too much exposition. There was a it wasn't the exposition wasn't eating very well, or didn't seem, I won't say it wasn't so seamless that people could not see that it was exposition. Or the repetitiveness also wasn't so well eaten that people could not notice the repetition. Some of the camera something after a point of time it just becomes like, okay, you're showing off that you can do that camera trick. Um but other than that, I don't think this was that bad, you know. I think it's a very obvious type of story. It's a very something. It's very clear why Miss Koi is back. The girl's mother lied to the Oba, and they were like, "You shouldn't lie." So because it's so clear, I don't necessarily think this is bad, because it's okay. It's what it's good. I'm sorry, I'm rambling on.
Still there. Sorry.
Yeah, that's kind of it. Yeah, like the magical planning.
All
I'm
right.
glad that I went to film school. Or maybe you didn't go to film school. I don't know this person. Um, enjoy the rest of your day, guys.
All right. Take care, Yinka.
Thank you.
Mm.
Cynthia, do you want to go next? What you didn't like?
Oh yeah, sure. This is my personal opinion. Um, my city is currently cold, so I'm facing harsh conditions. Please do not insult me. I understand the need of I understand what artistic license is, but please do not insult me. It is my personal opinion. Okay. So my first dislike will come from the graphics thing. As I said, my personal opinion. So the graphic rape scene. So I watched the graphic rape scene and I felt like the writer gaslighted me to bring out emotion with that scene. Why? I was triggered. I had emotion. Going into the movie, I started disliking Lash's character. But looking at it from another angle, it didn't feel like any of the character was well developed for me to push out an emotion towards them. It felt like because I saw the full closure rape scene, I was gaslighted to give out an emotion that I was not supposed to give out. Like I said, this is my personal opinion. So when I went back to restart the movie and I forwarded the whole rape scene and I kept watching, I just realized that all my emotions were fake and it came from the graphic rape scene. So because of that, I don't know how to feel about the movie. For me, it felt like they went into, like I was just saying, like, okay, like I was telling my friend that if they had done the rape, like if they really want the sexual assault to be like a major factor, and they did it without going full closure, without going graphic, I wouldn't have also given out any emotion because of the characters. They were all talking. They kept talking about their motivation. They kept talking about their development. They kept telling me everything I want to know. So it was more of the rape scene being so graphic that I had emotion in this movie, and I don't know how to feel about it. I honestly do not know how to feel about it. So, like I said, it's my personal opinion. Do not come from me. The country is currently hitting me with too much cold, and it's really, really my personal opinion. Secondly, I did not recognize this tale. I know. Hey God, I know. You have artistic license, and you are free to write the story the way you like. But I did not recognize this tale. I think the only thing recognizable is okay, Madame Koi Koi, and she's killing. But like Elizabeth have said, her killing was so random. I know they tied it to a forest, but never in my life have I heard the tale of Madame Koi Koi or Lady Koi Koi, and it is not a school centric tale. Never in my life have I heard that. In fact, I felt like I knew too much about Malomo village than the St. Augustine Catholic School. So, like I said, I like the beginning from the casting down to them showing us the dormitory and everything. But at some point, it started feeling like everything felt like a snapshot of what should be in a boarding school. I don't know how to explain it, but it felt like okay, let's show that a junior is under pressure, put him under the so a junior is getting bullied, put him under the bunk bed. Let's show that. Let's show that there is a classroom. Let's show that. Let's show that there is a one-time assembly throughout the whole movie by 6 p.m. Let's show that. It just felt like I was going through snapshots of a school, and the whole movie was really more about Malomo village. Like it took me out of what I would expect a boarding school tale to look like. I felt like I knew more about Malomo village as an evil forest. I don't know if it was called an evil forest, anyways. There's a forest outside the school. There's a woman that is always walking around that forest, and she's always carrying wood that she has caught. There are people that always pass the forest. There's a police station. I didn't like I I couldn't tell much about the school routine. I couldn't tell much about the boarding school. I don't know. It felt like they took the tale from a school centric tale to a Malomo tale to a village tale, and it was a bit confusing for me, especially because there are sometimes I hear the tale of Lady Koi Koi, and the tale goes that if you run away from the school, Madame Koi Koi cannot come and harm you. So yeah, for me, I was trying to balance um the whole killings happening outside the school. Okay, I was trying to balance how I knew too much about Malomo village than the whole boarding school where I always thought the tale was set on or the tale was set in. So as I said, it's my personal opinion. It's just how I feel. I guess a lot of people could unlook it, but I could not unlook it because I have never come across a tale of Madame Koi Koi that was very, very village centric and
Hmm.
not the boarding school centric. So it was very hard for me to balance it. I know there's going to be a part two. I know from the trailer we saw her entering into the school, the dormitory and other stuff. But um her deaths and everything from all the tale I've written is also tied to the school. It's very, very tied towards the school and the people of the school, okay, than the villagers. So yeah, so I probably went in with expectations, and I was should I say hot? I don't know. Because I had emotion because of the graphic web thing. So I probably went in with expectation, and to me it was just not what I expected hearing because of the tales I've heard. Okay, it was too village centric for me. Our killing was also very random, and I'm here to say justice for Idowu. Like I've been telling Elizabeth in private. So Idowu was the only student that I said I kind of like his acting. And when the whole rape thing happened, and I was really pissed she killed Idowu because I mean there were the other three guys, no remorse. Why is she killing Idowu? But I was like, okay. He shall join the rape, whether he was remorseful or not, let's forget it. Then the second killing happened. I understand people are saying
Cynthia,
what?
tell me. Yeah,
Oh, my
make,
time is up. Okay,
yeah,
yeah. Okay, yes. Okay, so let me just summarize. So, like I'm saying, so the graphic rape scene, I felt like I was gaslighted to give out emotion, okay, from the rape scene. I didn't think that if they had not shown it the way they did, I would have felt anything for any of the character because they lack character development. I could not recognize the tale. I felt like the tale was too village centric, and a lot of the tales I've heard about Mana Kokoi has to do with a boarding school centric story, okay, and the school felt more like a snapshot of what is happening in the tale, and the village was like having the whole um the village was like the whole story or the major story, okay. Actually was random, but I guess there's an explanation for it. I didn't feel any of the character except Mother Superior had a motivation. There were no character development, so that's why a lot of the tension felt forced for me. I got tired of the exposition, and yeah, that's it.
all right. Thanks, Cynthia. What mentioning in the it seems like there's a couple of requests that I can't see to become speaker. Um, just saying this is not to get you to follow, but I can't see people who request. I don't know why my space is like that, but if you're not following us, I can't see your request. Just in case. You don't have to speak, but like if you want to speak, you do have to follow. All right. Um, says Uchenna, so I think it's you next. You went here for the good. I don't know how I want to do this. If you want to do good and bad, you shall have 5 minutes. So Uchenna, when you're ready.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I'm sorry that I missed the good parts because of daylight saving time threw me off. But I feel really bad criticizing without saying the good part because there was a lot that I really liked about this. I can I came in late, but I can see that some people already mentioned a lot of things that I did like that like 4 minute long single take. That was like Spielberg or Woody Allen. I mean, that was really good stuff. I've not really seen that level of framing and staging in a lot of shots in Nollywood movies, and I was really impressed by that. And I just want to say in general that I've always been a fan of Jay Franklyn's stuff. I've not seen all his movies, but the stuff I've seen always has a few things that really, really impressed me. So much of the stuff that I think I'm going to talk about is much of the stuff I would have talked about is stuff I'm sure that people already mentioned. One thing I'll say really quick that was good was this there's some subtlety to the script in some ways that when they make a lot of references to, I mean, with all the sexual assault stuff, people have already mentioned that was a bit awkward. I'm not mad at it, but I understand it. But I also understand how it's a bit much. But I understand how it ties into all these other themes, all these other little moments of the cop ogling the girls, or the mother superior talking about teachers sleeping with students. There's this whole thing going on about adolescent female sexuality and whatnot. And I think that is part of the essential Madame Koi Koi legend that has been going on since the late 70s. I mean, when I think what I always feel that for horror to be effective, the most horror is usually an expression of some anxiety about social change. Whether it's Dracula, which Dracula basically represents the way the nobility is sucking the lifeblood out of the commoners, or Frankenstein is the anxiety about how science was developing in the 19th century, to the point where people feared what would happen if a scientist felt that he could replicate God and actually create a man. What problems would that cause? Madame Koi represents to me. I mean, when I first heard the story, I heard the story in the early 80s, before I was even in secondary school. And when I think about Madame Koi, I always link it to another memory in my mind. And that is being in class, and they're teaching Bible studies or something. And, in the Bible, the Old Testament, there's all this mention about harlots. And one of my classmates asked the teacher, what is a harlot? And the teacher explained that a harlot is a woman who wears high heels and trousers and red lipstick. So Madame Koi represented that anxiety about, the sexuality of the modern women, the modern Nigerian woman, and how that was viewed as a threat to society. So that's why, I mean, I just said in one of the comments that I feel that this sort of misunderstands the essence of Madame Koi. Again, the artist has the right to do it anyhow he wants, and the story has metamorphosed over so many years. Maybe he heard a different version, but Madame Koi is not supposed to be a monster, a big hairy monster that is growling and snarling and killing people in the bush. Modern Madame Koi represents the modern, sexy Nigerian woman. So I wasn't really feeling that stuff about killing people in the bush like an animal. I wasn't liking all the monster noises, and I didn't like the fact that the in terms of sound design, the there are different versions of the story. Obviously, there's the one with two shoes and there's one shoe. Obviously, they went with the one shoe here, but the one shoe here wasn't coying; it was clunking. It sounded like she was wearing more like a gigantic Frankenstein boot than like kitten heels or something. So I don't really like the way that the apparition has been presented up until now. And the sound design in general, I wasn't feeling it. I didn't like the score. The score was way too much. There was too much of it at the worst times, and the wrong kind of music. I mean, like, just when the detectives are having a conversation in the Mother Superior's office, in the background, there's this big spooky music going on. Why? Why is everything being constantly underlined? Even when people are just having a regular conversation, there's this obtrusive and incongruous music constantly going. So that threw me off. I think some people have mentioned that part with the where she wakes up from the dream and the barrel shot. I didn't really like it. I mean, I don't want to mention it as something I didn't like, as if it was something that I found offensive, but I'll say that it felt show-offy in a way that was unnecessary, especially when the last shot of ID was him in repose, and so the girl, the same position of repose. I think a simple match cut would have been much more effective than giving us that barrel roll. There was just no point of it. But it's not something that was am I running time?
Yeah, you've run out of time. If you want to just give us last point or round up.
Last point. Let me see. Well, I don't know if this is considered a series or a movie. Two movies. As a movie, I just found it unsatisfactory in terms of structure. I just feel it didn't really give us an arc. And yes, I know it's being there's a second part, and it's not as if you have to wait a year for the second part. So it still stopped abruptly. I feel that there should have been more of an arc and more of a reward at the end in some way, and more revelation about what the apparition we're dealing with here is. But these days there's so much blurring between series and movies, where you get movies that come out on streaming services that end up getting nominated for both Oscars and Emmys. So I understand that, but still, I feel even as a pilot episode of a series, I just felt rewarding enough. It felt as if they made it as if as one movie and then just arbitrarily cut it in half at some point. All right, that's it.
All right, thanks, Uchenna. My tongue technology says just reading out some comments now. Also, Mother Superior is not given religious villain. No. And Toya says, Gen Z says, now gaslighted to give emotion. Largely, she's spot on. Yeah, I think, yeah. I don't want to go on about that. I have a feeling Mrs. C will talk about it as she gives us what she did not like about this film.
Okay, I don't know what he thinks I'm going to talk about. But I think for starters, I don't think this film needed to be two parts. And this might be premature because part two isn't out and I don't know what they've put in it. But it's a pattern now, and it's, I don't know, I'm going to blame Big Mommy Kemi for this bad thing people have learned. Instead of just giving us one film, splitting it. Because again, it's a two-parter, right? I don't know why we need a two-part series. It's not a limited series. It's not a long series. Why is this in two parts? And considering how many conversations were repeated, and as much as, you know, I did enjoy exclaiming at the high levels of gaslighting Mother Superior did, it really was too much, right? It was, we were having the same conversations again and again and again. And if we go to Mother Superior, she seems like an intelligent woman, right? She seems smart, very misogynistic, just standard scary, you know, principal Mother Superior kind of person. And I just couldn't understand what the end game was for her. And it's the thing we were talking about, and Mr. T was saying, well, she's kicking the can down the road. I'm like, yes, but to where? Because when a whole ass child is missing, I just couldn't understand a woman that smart. I couldn't understand what her plan was, because it didn't seem like there was a plan. The plan just seemed gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. But like just at the school. But does he not have parents? What is going? I did not understand that. Again, it has been mentioned, but I will repeat it because it bears repeating. There was absolutely no reason for the rape scenes to be that graphic, to drag on for that long. It absolutely did not need to be that long. And we've talked so much about rape in Nollywood. And I mean, it seemed like they did want to use it for a setup, right? But again, maybe fine with Madame Koiko's character, or the person we think is Madame Koiko, right? But yeah, it had already been said, these boys are not good boys, right? The girls that hang around with them, it ends in tears. Even just, honestly, even those boys walking into the room, right? Was it Ibukun that was her name? Ibukun looking scared, right? And then we cut to her making her way back out of the room. That could have been fine, right? Because if we're going to fade to black with all of Madame Koiko's kills, we can fade to black on the rape. We don't need to drag it out. We don't need to zoom in on her face. It was just too much. Sorry. And then if we move back onto Miss Koiko herself, I think Mr. C has said he's fine with, you know, the current portrayal of the, you know, in the bush and all that. I know, not for me anyway. I think Cynthia said she thought she was a werewolf. And and Madame Koiko is not, I don't hear Madame Koiko think of the stories, and again, there's artistic license, whatever, but think of someone stomping about in the bush, looking haggard, right? I think Madame Koiko is supposed to be a bit of a bad bitch, right? I think the heels should click. Even if we're going with just one heel, I think it should click, not stomp, right? Which is, I guess it's what makes it hard with her being in the bush and operating in the bush, because Madame Koiko would usually be in the hallways, and you can click, click, click all the way down the hall. I know there's different variations. I know clicking is.
There is. She does go in the boarding school, and you hear one heel click, and then the foot stomp.
But that was like her dream.
Yeah.
That was a dream. That wasn't one of her actual for realsies attacks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So when she was attacking for real, she was stomping, and that was just, I don't know. That was off-putting for me. But yeah, I think honestly, my biggest problems was I couldn't see the end goal for Mother Superior, because the scholastic competition, be real. Like that's not enough to just not look for a missing child, right? Show me Mother Superior secretly sending somebody to try and find the child, right? Or find out what happened. Not just pretend we'll wave a wand. Is she going to tell his parents that he never enrolled? Like, how good is her gaslighting? Let's find out. What else was I thinking? Oh yeah, I know there's a lot of things. It's just the implausibility of homegirl having to study with those boys at night when they went to prepare for and Baba saved her and the other girl, right? Amanda and Edna. It's just I've been in boarding school. It might not be that important, but sorry, my phone is going. Whatever. It might not be that important, but like Nigerian secondary schools, they're not letting a girl go study with a group of boys in the middle of the night somewhere, no matter how.
Catholic school for that matter.
A Catholic school for that matter. It's just not going to happen. It's crazy. But yeah. Oh, also, I just wanted to say one thing, and it's the thing where Mildred said, right? Oh, it was good to show the rapists and hold a mirror to Nigerian men. It's not holding a mirror to anybody. Because again, I hated that these boys are coming in, rubbing their hands, licking their lips and looking evil. It's this thing that helps separate a lot of people from the actual things they do that are rape or sexual assault or sexual assault adjacent. It's you can see, oh, this person who is doing it on screen is mustache twirling and rubbing his hands together. I didn't do that. So clearly I'm not like them. These are bad people. These are monsters. And that's not me. That's not my friends. That's not my G. And yeah, so I did not appreciate that at all.
All right. Thanks, Miss C. All right. So for some of the stuff that I didn't like, okay. Let's start with the small. I think people have already spoken about exposition dump. I think the first three scenes were quite a bit of exposition dump. And my thing isn't, not all, but a lot of movies do have to have exposition, but it just didn't feel like a real when it stops feeling like a real conversation, it feels like the movie is stopping to tell you a backstory, almost like a prose, like you would read in a novel. It's breaking the suspense, and you can have moments of it where it almost feels like a break. If it stops a little bit here, and then we go back into the thing, or there are ways of weaving these things into the story where it doesn't feel this heavy-handed. So yes, when they were doing it, it literally goes Amanda, her mom, and then it goes Mother Superior on the phone. It's everybody's just giving, all right, okay, we're setting up, but it's doing it in quite a heavy-handed way. And then the third scene was, I think, talkative. All right, there's that. I'm not a big fan of the red light because I don't like it. It seems like a dark pink. I don't know, it just felt more red light district. Not that I've ever been. Not that I've ever been, but it just feels like that's what you would see in one of those. Other than evil, it felt more sexy than evil. All right. No king shaming. Obviously, if that's your thing, that's your thing. All right. The other thing, I felt like at some places, I'm not sure. Right. If it was ADR, I guess it's good ADR. But if not, the points where the audio was slightly out of sync with the amount. If it's ADR, it's good ADR, and sometimes unfortunately it's impossible to match these things with the mouth. But I almost felt like the audio was lagging slightly behind. So I have two people's acting. I feel kind of bad pointing these two people out because they're not bad. They didn't take me out of it completely, but Lash and Edna's characters, I thought those performances were kind of poor. Lash's performance especially. He's getting a lot of praise because people hate him, but no, people hate rape, and that's why there's this people don't confuse, like, because he hates, hates the act of rape and hates people who rape. Don't confuse that with like hating a character. There's nothing to his character. He is unfortunately, and he can't get better, like Mildred say. I don't want to come across, because again, he's new. I don't feel as strong as I do with a bit more some of our veterans, but he does feel like he's just picking all the bad tropes that he's seen, with rubbing his hands and licking his lips. And sometimes some Americanisms do drop in here and there, which it doesn't feel comfortable. Y'all comes up once in a while. I did not. Somebody talked about having some of this dialogue in Pidgin. And I guess that would have been cool. It didn't have to be in Pidgin for me, but we could have done without this. It feels closer to Nigerian movie actors when they start, when they're not as comfortable. This thing. All right. Ireti Doyle's performance. I did not love Ireti Doyle's performance. For her, I have to say, because I hold her to high standard. I thought there was too many. It felt like she was still cooking this character. I still stand by my good where I said she had pockets of really good moments, but too many times it felt like she was trying to fill the air, and she was not comfortable completely. And she had this that thing she was doing, and she did it repeatedly. And again, it feels like a crutch that you use when you're not really comfortable in the character you're doing. It just felt like maybe she had more time, or this feels like a first draft Ireti Doyle performance, right? And I needed like 3 more after this. All right. What else? And oh, Amanda! I said I liked Amanda. The character played Amanda. The person who played Amanda. I did like her performance. And it means something, because some of the words, the dialogue they give her is just tragic, bad. I think the 2 times I can't remember. I think there's 2 times she's trying to be smart, where she rebuts. I think there's one she rebuts Lash in class, and what she said is actually nonsense. Lash said a bunch of facts that are loosely based, and it's a word salad, but her rebuttal doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Maybe it's difficult because his what he said in the first place. She was trying to say what he said was, I don't know what she was rebutting, but it wasn't what he said. And it made me confused.
It was about diamonds and coal, and his
theory
was that diamonds are coal.
So what Lash said was isn't it interesting that even though diamonds and coal are both carbon or something, that they can be quite different. That was his conclusion. And then he goes, and then her rebuttal was basically, even though that they're basically carbon, they're not actually the same. It's that's what he said. He said he was pointing out how even he puts it on that, after a lot of heat and pressure and blah blah blah, whatever, who cares? After coal goes on, isn't it cool how they don't have, I think, the same electrical properties? That's what he said. So I don't understand her pushback about how they're not the same thing.
Her rebuttal though was that pressure doesn't make coal diamonds.
Yes.
Basically,
She said
that was
pressure
her
doesn't
rebuttal.
make coal diamonds. Pressure doesn't make coal diamonds. Which is
No,
fine. Pressure can make
no. Wait. Okay, go.
We will drag your shorts this evening.
Okay. I watched this film today again, right?
I watched it right before this club.
Go listen to the part. She says yes, even though that coal under high pressure and blah 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 makes. I think she grants. In fact, that part at that part, Lash says yes. So what are you rebutting? She grants that part about coal turning into diamond. Her whole thing is that.
No, she doesn't.
Okay. Wait. We're not in pushback yet. Okay, you can push back in a bit. Go listen to the part first before you come and drag this thing with me. Go listen to that part first before dragging with me. That specific part. I'm sure you can find it, but that's the part I'm talking about. And then you can drag with me and push back. We're going to push back in a little bit just after what I'm saying. Anyway. All right. Yeah, so I can't remember if I mentioned Edna's acting. Edna's acting. That might be a directing problem or directing issue, because she came in and she was a bit. She's clearly supposed to be the talkative person, but like she's not invested in the things she's saying. Right? Like somebody who is talkative because like they just can't. It's somebody who's in love with all the thoughts in their heads and they just have to get it out. But she just felt like she was like coming out with a script. I feel like when Mildred was talking about some at times actors saying their lines and not listening, or this is I think she's one of the people that can fit into that. Oh yeah, the other thing I was thinking about with Amanda was when she came in with a question that she had already prepared so that we can see who's the best. Who's the best? Are the two best people? I was like, I don't know how she can prepare the questions and also be I don't know how she can compete for questions she's prepared, and like I expect people to take that. Anyway, those were the two supposed like her sticking it to the guys, and I just thought they fell flat. What else? All right, so the rape scene, I know everybody's talked about it, we talk about it a lot. So there's two parts of it. I think I'm going to address that maybe hasn't been spoken about as much. The first part is there is a way Ibukun's character almost forgets. I don't want to say she forgets about it, but like it feels like it's not that important to the character. There is really no weight to it. I think when we spoke about essays the week before, was it last week, week before, we talked about like sometimes this thing not giving the gravity they deserve. And I know like this thing is actually doing a decent job of a systematic. I think that's where the strength is, in the systematic covering of rapes and abuse. But like in this particular one, where it is just as evil and just a black and white rape as they come. They don't care. It's just we don't care about Ibukun's character. Ibukun the character. She just goes off, and then when we need to speak to her again, when Mother Superior needs to speak to her again, we're calling her in to go, hey, have you seen? By the way, I know that you said the thing about the rape, but have you seen LD, is it LD or what, ID, whatever? Anyway, but like I don't know if I'm conveying that particularly that well, but I felt like Ibukun almost forgets about the rape. Like there's nothing post. We don't see her in the dorm like dealing with any of it, or it doesn't have any. It doesn't have any gravity on the rest of the hostel. Like I know, like she's Mother Superior is saying like not a word on this about this to anybody, but maybe again in part two, maybe it'll come out and something will happen of it. But for how graphic it was, yes, I'm with Otas that maybe only a relation to Madame Koike is going to it's how it's going to sort of make sense. And then the other thing I wanted to say was, I think this was in relation to something that I think Ava said where, oh, well, if you hate the person, like if it elicits emotion from you, then, hey, it's done its job. Triggering people isn't the same thing as like effective storytelling, right? Like if you still have to build a character, you still have to do a bunch of things to develop someone, and like if not, like it's a cheap. What I'm saying is it's a cheap shorthand, and it's not original at all. It's been done to death in Nollywood. Ask Nollywood Film Club members. We have a list of films we can give you if you want about people doing this stuff. Like it's an easy way to go. Yes, this guy is bad. And we get it. So like, if you want to bring this to the table, you should definitely flesh it out with giving out something else. And just, again, like I said, that doesn't really go into anything else is as at this point anyway, it feels like getting triggered for no reason, especially like Vanessa said when you compare it to the way that they're doing the deaths. All right, okay, so we're gonna enter into pushbacks.
I just came out to tell you that you were wrong and that you just made me watch 30 seconds of this movie all over again for no
All right,
reason.
okay, yeah, I was wrong. What did she say? What did she say? What's the quote?
Literally that.
Okay. What's
He
literally
says
that?
that diamonds, he goes into a whole thing about how diamonds are formed and how it's a great source of energy or whatever. And then she says coal and diamond, while they both occur under the earth, under high temperatures, that's where the similarities end. Coal does not become diamonds due to more pressure. And is correct.
Wait.
I didn't say coal becomes diamonds under more pressure. She says coal does not become diamonds. They're both made of carbon.
All right,
They both
okay.
exist under the ground, but
I'm going to double check this again. I don't think that's what was said, but all right. Anyway, any other pushback? Does anybody have pushback?
Sorry, I'm here. Sorry, I was cooking. This was with regards to Enyiko talking, even though she's not here, bless her soul, love her. I know she's ill, not about to kick someone while they're down, but this was in response to Enyiko saying that the reason why Miss Koiko is back, or Madam Koiko is back, is because Amanda's mother lied to the chief. This is both pushback and just something to point out. Hello, you people wrote notes for us at the beginning of this film. There is a thin veil between the normal world and the supernatural world, and sometimes the supernatural world and the menene is open. Then in the 1 hour, whatever minutes of this first part, don't tell us what opened the veil this time around. What opened the veil? Why is she back? Because if these killings have happened before and is the reason why Sister Ruth has maintained a vow of silence for the past how many Odumelu, yet Lashe and his boys have been raping girls in the school for a while now, that it is an open secret, and Madam Koikoi was just chilling. The veil did not open. Why didn't the veil open? Why is it now when Amanda's mother just made a little white lie that the veil is opening? Like, let's be for real. It's not making it, the math is not mathing. I'm so sorry. If someone wants to explain to me how the maths, go ahead, but the math isn't mathing to me. They just abandoned that whole supernatural bit, which is the thing. Like, they set up this whole thing of the school being a religious school and having supernatural activities occur, and then just abandon it. Nothing about the school feels religious. Nothing about the procedures in the school feel religious. You don't see kids going to chapel for any prayers. You don't see mothers, like, it's not, it doesn't feel any like anything. It's like, what is the connection between the school being a Catholic school and all the supernatural things, or being in a supernatural village, or a village where supernatural things happen? It just feels very unearned, and I know there's a second part, so whatever, man.
Okay, fair enough. Wayne's rant.
I was having the weirdest time trying to unlock my phone. Okay, I don't know. I think Vanessa speaks about this. It was a pushback on something Vanessa said when she was talking about Madame Koiko, like why she comes back. And I think it's what I think. That they are setting up that it is something that is triggered by the rape. However, like I think Vanessa also says it that so the assumption that there has been no rape since 20 years, obviously that's unrealistic, and then they've probably been raping people before then. So why is it this particular rape that initiates that? That I don't know why. Maybe they would answer that. But I think it's obvious that they tell us in this story that the initial killings of Madame Koiko was triggered by rape, and now what causes it to come back is rape. And then the second thing, I think someone spoke something about the fact that I can't really remember, but I wrote the pushback. I didn't write the thing the person said, but the pushback I wrote was that she is they were talking about the fact that I think her killings doesn't have like a pattern or something, is random. I don't think it's very random because she's killing people by the cost tree that are men, right? Why is it why it is not every single man that exists? I don't know, but I think there is some pattern to what she's doing. Yeah, I think that's my favorite.
All right, thanks, Ranjans. I have to say I've gone to watch the thing again. Well, watch it. I saw the subtitles, and hopefully the subtitles aren't lying. I mean, but yes. What's his name? Kiniko. Lash says coal turns into diamonds, and the babe says this thing. I still think the lines aren't particularly great because what she says is, but that's, I think there's a line in there where she says, yeah, but that's where the similarities end. She says carbon and waiting. Carbon and something.
Coal and diamonds are both carbon. Menene. Mr. C, no.
She said something about coal and diamonds are both primarily made of carbon formed underneath the earth due to formed underneath the earth under conditions of high temperature and pressure. Yeah. That's what she says. Yeah. That's a little confusing, no? She says coal. She said coal and diamonds are both.
Did you pass science?
No. I get it. But then she said the point is in relation to what he said. She said, and that's where the similarities end. Like but like my point is that Lash left it as, oh, they're both similar, but they don't. Wait, hang on. Wait, let me say what I'm trying to say first. They're both similar. Oh, like Lash was saying, like, oh, look, both coal and diamonds are both similar, but they don't conduct electricity. And that's what he said. Okay. That's why you need to let somebody finish what they're saying.
He said
so, like, that's
converts to diamonds under pressure.
I know, but
that was the thing, is it does not.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, if the line was just, hey, coal doesn't turn into diamond, that's where it would have ended. You know, like, it should have just, hey, by the way, coal doesn't turn into diamond, you idiot. But she goes into this thing where I don't know.
Because it's relevant to what she's explaining.
It's not relevant because, like, again,
so let me read the sentence for you because I took screenshots for you. Yeah. For you. I took like 8. She says, yes, coal and diamonds are both primarily made of carbon formed underneath the earth under conditions of high temperature and pressure. And then he goes, so how am I wrong? And she says, but that's where their similarities end. Coal does not become diamonds due to more pressure. Coal contains impurities like plants, which are not found in diamonds, which means diamonds are essentially pure carbon minerals. Also, coal is found much closer to the Earth's surface than diamonds.
So what if,
it's again, relevant like, because she's rebutting what he's saying.
What? No. Because, like, what he was saying was that coal and diamonds don't conduct electricity the same way. That's the point he leaves it on. It's the point he leaves it on. It's the point he leaves it on. Okay. This is a small point he leaves it, but that's the point he leaves it on, and that's why I said it's not well written. I get the point. Like what she's just saying is that coal and coal doesn't turn into diamond, which. Yes.
The whole long thing he did where he was chatting shit about how
he was talking a bunch of nonsense. To be honest, like I said, like he was saying a bunch of. He was talking a bunch. No. He's saying a bunch of things that this one here, then that one here, then this one here. Like I said, it was a word salad what he said because like a bunch of things that weren't really relating. I don't, it talks about, but like when she was coming up with the rebuttal, because what he left it as was, hey, coal and diamond don't conduct electricity the same way. I thought that's what she was going to be rebutting, and that's what.
That's on you.
Wait, sir, can I say something?
It's on you because now she go decide whether she go rebut against.
Thank you. Why you tell me what to argue?
She chose to rebut on the nonsense that he was saying, not the thing he left it on. He was saying a bunch of rubbish, and she rebutted on the bunch of rubbish.
He said one rubbish. He said one rubbish, and he just.
He's a bunch of rubbish.
Look, you guys, all I'm saying is just like it's just hey, one who's. It's just one person. Just I'm saying, like, if you wanted to write a rebuttal of that line, there's a better way to do it. That's essentially what I'm saying. maybe you disagree. Maybe you think all of that lines were needed. Okay, fine. All of what you
Gaslight
said was
girl cute,
needed.
because
No,
that's
no,
not
no,
what
no.
you said before. You
No,
said
no.
she didn't
There's
say
a part
that
of
and
the
that he
there's
didn't say
no,
that.
no. Okay, check the tape. No, no. One of the things that one of the things I clearly did get wrong was that she wasn't rebutting anything he said. She clearly did rebut something he said. It wasn't written well, is what I'm saying. All right, okay. If nobody has any more rebuttals, can we move to whose hand is up? Who's this? Rotimi.
Yeah, I was just trying to say just about this particular scene. I have no idea what science, what as per diamond or coal, but I just think that the main point of that scene was just to this whole idea that Lachey was this whole ITK. I don't know the detail, I don't know science, so I can't speak to whether he was saying dust or not. But the whole fact that he was trying to show off in class that he was an ITK to the teacher, after the teacher tried to reprimand him for talking, he was trying to show off like he was an ITK. Then Amanda kind of like challenges him, which Lachey, being the so-called bright guy that goes for the quizzes, not like who is this person challenging me, trying to take my shine, which kind of plays into later where they start looking at, okay, Amanda should be the next target for their assault. Yeah, and I still like, maybe I'm still waiting to see what's going to happen in the second part, to see how this rape really fully ties in or how it comes back, because I think it was Cynthia that was mentioning about like how it seems to be a lot seems to be happening in the village as opposed to the school. So I want to see how it connects to the school. Though I think Mommy Dada's character was a teacher. Maybe that's the connection there. So part of these things, I don't know if some of them we have to wait to the second part to actually confirm the full connection and everything. But like somebody mentioned before, at least there's a method. So there's a method to Lady Koi Koi's killing. First person she killed was a rapist. Second person she killed was a drunkard. Third person she killed was an robber. Which I've been saying, like, is she really a villain? So that's why I'm like, my own points are like, end of the day, anything that does not involve her killing Lachey and his boys, I don't know. That's all. Anything that happens, I don't care. I've made up my mind that them Lachey does deserve to die. Now, how does that play out into the Lady Koi Koi, like I've always said before, is almost creative license. I think that's they are like, if they were talking about vampires, there's so many different interpretations of vampires. This might be this particular writer's, which is my paddy, but his own interpretation of what Madame Koi Koi is, what he gives his own reason of how Madame Koi Koi came to be and why she even appears on the school premises at all. So yeah, so I it's weird because I think I understand what everybody saying, because the trailers and everything is almost guiding us to, oh, we're going to get this, because they kept showing Amanda in the class, sorry, in the hostel waking up. So we think we're going to get this haunting of the school, because that's the way, like the Koi Koi, me, I remember it was almost as though she's haunting the school, not haunting the forest. But that's what I'm saying, that there's small creative license. So when I start watching it, I'm just like, do happen, I'm going to take your story and see where you are trying to go to and go, as opposed to what I thought the story should be. So yeah, that's for me, but it's still fine. Yeah, that's all for now.
Okay. All right. We're going to get into predictions in a bit. Cynthia,
Oh yeah, I just because I know that there will be a lot of talk about artistic and creative license. I just want to say that even in vampires movie, for every vampire movie, there is a rule that everyone follows. Okay, we know that the sun is going to burn them. We know that they are going to drink blood. Okay, same thing with werewolf. We know that when there's full moon, they're going to change to werewolves. So there is like a tail, because the tail is still like that. Talking about creative license, I watch a lot of Korean movies and they tell tales. Like I've watched 2 seasons of Tale of the Nine-Tailed, and the 2 seasons contain like 20 episodes of Korean tales. And even at that, they left the originality, though they gave the characters some resolution, but they left the originality. So for me, I could not recognize this Madame Koi Koi tale because it was very village centric, okay? But there's a possibility that part two is going to bring it to the school centric. Yes, I knew Rosemary was a teacher. I knew she was leaving school. end of part one did not tell us if the people that raped her were also teachers in the school. I just don't know. It felt like I knew too much about Malomo village than St. Augustine Catholic School. And every time I've heard about Madame Koi Koi tale, the school is like the most important. So that's it for me.
All right, cool. We're going to move into predictions now. Right. So, like in terms of predictions, there are a couple of areas I think we can go because I think there are some places that have been set. There are things that have been set up, but like there are things that have been set up, and I'm interested in knowing where, you can go as well as you want or as, what you actually think is going to happen. Obviously, these aren't, we haven't seen it or we don't know anybody haven't seen, we haven't read the script, we're just guessing. But I'm interested in people's knowing what like Amanda's sleep paralysis is going to end up meaning. Amanda's father, if he's going to play a part. ID's family or lack of family, what that potentially or what that potentially means. Who's paying school fees? Is it paying all right. Badge dad. I can't remember what Badge character's name. Badge character's dad. Because he is a member. I that could also come into play in part two. And how Sister Silence became Sister Silence. Because I'm not sure any of these things are actually this is the silence one. Like at the first one I watched it, I thought there was an explanation, but wasn't really, because she's not there I don't think she's not there in the shot we see in the horrific thing. Anyway, so like predictions, please go crazy. A task.
So my predictions again, one of them I think I mentioned earlier, and it's because they're just only one of two ways where Madame Koi Koi is suddenly deciding to show up right now, despite all the horror that has apparently gone down in that school. Makes sense is if there is some kind of connection between the original teacher who was killed, either familial or something else, where she is sort of protecting or suddenly choosing to avenge now one of these two girls, either Amanda, who seems to have a deeper connection to Madame Koi Koi because she's apparently the only one suddenly haunted by her in her dreams, or to Ibukun, who was assaulted, which then I guess would give the assaults some relevance in showing it. And so that's one of my predictions. And the other prediction I have is that it might not be familial. It might be that one of the boys that raped her was Amanda's dad, which would be interesting to pursue. And then my last prediction is that the silent lady, Choma Chika's character, may have been the woman who was walking with Madame Koi Koi in um the last scene there, which is maybe why her tongue was cut out, or she saw something in relation to that assault where they, cut out her tongue. But should be fun.
Interesting. Okay. No, cool ones. Itchin, predictions.
My hand
Yeah,
was up
I thought
something.
I thought I thought it was firmly established that Choma Chukwuka's character was the nun who was in the woods that night. But anyway, I expect that what was his name, Papa Faule. I expect that either him or Badge's father, or both of them, would probably be the guys who attacked Rosemary in the woods that night, because it is suggested that Papa Fawode had some sort of darkness in his past, and the Mother Superior said that she's the only one who would give him a job, because of whatever had happened in there. So I think either if he was not the main attacker, Bulu, he may have been the other guy holding him back. But I think he's one of those guys. I didn't think about the thing about Badge's father, but since somebody mentioned it now, I do think that that probably was not a random reference to his father being from there. He's probably connected in some way. So that's what I expect.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking you for. That's what I'm asking you. What do you think the connection is? By the way, Choma Choma Chukwuka's character is there, but she's not there for the actual. She's not there for the rape. So that's what I mean. Like she's nowhere in the shot. So and if we listen to what Baba said, the Baba says to um um to her while she was doing her good silent acting. Uh, he says, "I'm sorry, I couldn't help save you that day," and that doesn't sound like, that doesn't sound like the scenario that we saw during the flashback in part one. Also, I have to say, it's weird using Choma Chukuka in that flashback because it's basically the same face, because I can't even tell how many years ago this is supposed to be. It looked like that was last week. That she'd been silent, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's something that bugged me too. I mean, that was her, wasn't it? But I felt, on one hand, I was like, I'm glad they did not use a younger actor in that case. I don't like when they do that a lot of times. But I feel they could have given her maybe a different color to wear, just so it doesn't look like. I mean, because it does, the continuity was too straight, where all of a sudden you see her 20 years ago dressed the exact same way she is
Yeah.
in the present.
Yeah, I mean, like I actually would have preferred another actor, because yes, I just unsure about what age, how old she is now, how old she was then. Like, it's what is stopping me from actually making decent predictions with this one. Is like, yeah, it's difficult to tell how far back, and yeah. Anyway, Vanessa.
Okay. When I was facing my hand, since it's not coming now, I'm eating. Okay. Prediction. Um, Otasi's one about Amanda's father being one of the rapists is one of mine. I was literally gonna say that because I'm like, that's the only reason, one of the only reasons why she'll be coming to her in Ninuala, in the dream. Then my one, this is my wildest one, and maybe not as wild. I think Mother Superior is Madame Koi Koi. I feel like we're all being very like shush, shush, let me land. I think we're all being like, and maybe this is me being generous to them, but like we're being very presumptuous in assuming that the woman who was raped, Rosemary, is Madame Koi. We're being very feeling. And maybe they lead us to believe that. But I think Madame Superior is Madame Koi. And maybe that's the reason why she's gatekeeping, gaslighting, and girl bossing, so that she doesn't give away the fact that she's the one who's been killing people. Are you with me?
I love that theory.
Walk
I'm
with
sorry,
me,
because it
guys.
makes sense
Walk
to
I
me.
mean,
with
And she's
me.
holding
That
on to
is
the school
the
so
wildest
strongly.
shit
So
I've
I love
ever
it,
heard.
Vanessa.
originally I did not want to
Wow.
assume that Rosemary was Madame Koi Koi, but just right before this spaces, I was looking at some of the promotional art for this, and Omawumi Dada is listed as Rosemary Madame Koi Koi. So I mean,
Again, I'm
unless
just
that's a
telling
fake
you,
out.
this is
Wait,
misdirection. This is
wait.
misdirection. They're misdirecting you.
I mean, like it's literally her silhouette.
Vanessa
I don't
learning
care.
from Mother
I don't care.
Superior.
You said we could go wild.
Rating.
I am going wild now. You people are coming for me.
Wow, Mother Superior, is
I
that
support
you?
I'm on your side, dear. Don't worry.
See,
Monday.
Madam Serious, Madam Koi, leave it alone. Then, as to Badge's dad, I don't know what Badge's dad is, but I think it was, because I think it has something to do with the Oba and the village chiefs and all the people, which is why I think Baba Fakunle was. I don't think Baba Fakunle was one of the rapists. I think the rapist, after they left Rosemary, I don't know. I don't know what he was saving her from. Or maybe after the rape, Madame Koi Koi do appear in front of Sister Silent, Sister Ruth, and then Baba Fakunle was passing by. Would they protect her? He then protected her. Maybe he tried and he failed. See, these are the things, right? I don't know. Mm. Sorry, this chicken is sweet. I have to swallow it well.
You actually
Um,
make me sick. I hate you.
but yeah, what's my other theory? Amanda. If it's not her father that raped my sister Rosemary, Amanda is a descendant. She do descendants of Madame Koi Koi. And maybe she's because
You know that in the last scene, which is why maybe my mother superior theory is not right, but in the last scene, alternative theory, guys, you know, in the last scene, we see the red light appearing through one little shield, and Rosemary is reaching. She's reaching for it. Maybe Madam, the spirit menene that possessed Rosemary, if we are going by the fact that Rosemary is Madam Koi, maybe that one is tired of Rosemary body. And because Amanda is a descendant, Amanda is next in line to be Madam Koi. Abibeko, walk with me. So walk with me, you guys. Walk with me. So yeah, those are my theories.
All right. Okay. Like said before, I hope it's drugs. I hope we can blame this on drugs.
This is why I'm not a conspiracy theorist, guys. Blame it on fried rice and chicken.
All right. No. Actually, that's it. All right. Cynthia, did you want to do?
Oh, wait, yeah, Wayne's hand was up before me.
Okay. It's just Wayne has already spoken. That's what, right? I think Wayne has already. When have you done predictions? I feel like he
No,
has.
it was
That's
Uchenna,
No,
I think.
I didn't say anything,
okay.
but it's
All
fine.
right.
It's fine. Cynthia, you can go. You can go. I'm nice.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I'm here to support Otat and Vanessa because I know when I finished this movie, I was like, nah, Amada's father is likely one of the rapists. I also thought of the old Baba too, being one of the rapists. Another thing I thought of was where if Amada's father is not one of the rapists, it could be that Rosemary had a relationship, okay, with a man outside school. And that man is Amanda's father. Okay. And it could also be that Amanda's mom is not Amanda's mom. So those were like the two predictions I had. But my whole prediction is Amanda is tied to Madame Koi. So I don't know if it's because her father is a rapist, or her father was the one that raped Rosemary, or if it's because she's a descendant. Okay, so or her father was Rosemary lover during that time, or maybe she gone herself is the daughter of Rosemary that is hidden, but I shall know that Amanda is going to be tied to Madame Koi, not Ibukun.
Can you push back predictions?
Yes, you can push back
Because
prediction.
it's already mentioned that Rosemary already lives like a nun, doesn't have a lover, doesn't
Yeah.
go out, doesn't do anything.
Well, she's finna go
But
out though
but
with
she
her
was dressed
Matthew
to
Red
escape.
Hills.
She was dressing to like she didn't want to live like a nun. She wanted to live the other life.
No, she
No,
lived
no,
like
no,
a
no, no,
nun,
no,
but she
no, no,
dressed
no,
how
no,
she
no, no.
wanted. That
Because
was
the
They
that
said
was
she
the
was
only
That's
story.
saved.
She was saving it for marriage, but you gotta go on the prowl.
she was like, my virginity and your virginity are not
And
the
not the same
same.
thing. My year is
She said,
different from
while I'm a virgin, I still want to look for husband. So she will find
Yes,
dress. Go and
go.
look for husband.
Yes,
Okay,
go.
you are fine. Okay,
but
well,
the
anyways,
mystery.
but Amanda is shy related to Madame Kwekwe in a way. It's either her father is the rapist, which was my first thought, or yeah, something have to do with her, but she is the one that is related, not Ibukun.
Second general pushback, and not to Cynthia, is like if that old guy is one of the rapists, then like 50 years have passed because he's old as shit.
Which is why I don't
And
believe
then
it's one
nothing
of them
else
because
about the
the time
thread
difference
nun will
is
make
very odd.
sense. So,
Yeah.
But it's the only one that knows the story. It's the only one that knows the
and
story.
but maybe
Maybe he's
he
been
read
living
the
there.
letter or he saw the body. But either way, we're speculating, so everybody be wild.
Yeah, because like no, again, like what I said is like what's making me predictions for me hard is that Choma Chukwu's character just looking the same. So I mean, if they tell me
But
that was supposed to be Choma Chukwu's character like 30 years ago, well
Oh, it's
then
20 years. It's 20 years. They put it there 20 years. It's
20 years ago,
1971. Yes, 1971, so 20 years.
right?
okay. I mean, all right.
So it feels like
The
it
shark
both
cannot.
can't be the old man and it can't
Okay.
be Choma
And it can't
Chukwu.
be Badge's father because Badge's father moved before he was born, and they cannot tell me Badge is 20 years old. I will fight somebody.
All right, except if he had already been playing around. True. Okay.
He said his father moved before he was born from the village, unless he visited the village to do some rapes. Badge cannot be 20. But my prediction is Badge's character will die because
He could have had.
he's
He could have had.
leering at.
Oh yeah, I see. I see what you're
Yeah,
saying.
he left the village before he was born.
Except if he had the child whilst he was in the village first.
Which child?
But Oh, true. Okay, all
Exactly.
right. Sorry, my brain.
I put the bucket on the
Yeah.
glass.
Wayne's rant. What do you want to say? Wayne's rant. You.
Thank you so much. So firstly, I think everybody just ignoring Edna. I think there was a shot where this girl wakes up from a dream and Edna is awake and sweating. I don't trust that Edna girl. I think Edna is somehow connected to Madame Koi Koi. Hear me out. I think maybe Madame Koi Koi is like a spirit. There's like a spirit, and the spirit was hey, I woke up. Spirit wake up, Sha, and then it's using Edna. It's used what's her name before? Rosemary before because of the earlier rape, and now it is using Edna because we don't see who kills those men in present time. All we see is whoever Amanda is seeing in her dream. That is not an accurate representation of whoever Madame Koi Koi is right now. Lastly, I fear that Sister Ruth might have been raped by those same men. So the film establishes that the most important thing to her is her chastity, because she's a nun. And I fear that those same men may have raped her. And what is this guy's name? That Baba was supposed to have protected her, and that is what he didn't protect her from. And she saw what they call it, Madame Koi Koi come out and kill those men. That is what scarred her so much that she can no longer speak. So
All right. Well, that makes sense. Mrs. C, do you have? Cynthia, did you want to say something? Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say that it's possible for her to see those men being killed, and maybe Baba was the only one that was not killed. But I don't know about the men still raping her, Sha. That's all. Like, I don't know about the men raping Sister Ruth. That's all I was going to say.
Okay.
I don't have any more predictions. I have a moment.
You have no more. Which ones are you saying? So when we come back, I want to see who has done well in the prediction game.
Watch Nollywood shock us all.
Look, I think we used to do this. We used to do this for movie time, right?
Yeah.
Based on synopsis, right? And usually they always turn out worse than that.
Yeah, but like my go-to was always random juju, but like the juju wouldn't be random anymore. So okay, let's go. Predictions. This person comes back. ID's missing parents show up. Easy prediction: all the rapist boys die. Badger's character dies because he's, leering at teen girls, so he gotta go. Honestly, Koi Koi seems like an anti-hero that I would like to root for at this point. She is taking out the trash. What else is my prediction? There is gonna have to be, and I think it's stupid, but I think there will have to be something tied to lying to the Oba, because they've pointed it out, they've mentioned it. Why did you lie to the Oba? They've signposted lying to the Oba ish so much that there's going to have to be some tie to lying to the Oba, between lying to the Oba and shenanigans ensuing. And yeah, I don't know, man. I think that's about it. Oh, and I think the third act is more likely than not to carry us where we don't know.
You just be predicting war. All right. Okay. All right. Rotimi, I saw your hand up.
Yes, I was. Yeah. Okay. Can I go?
Yeah, sure.
Hello. I think Lachey is going to at least attempt to rape Amanda. At least attempt. I don't think he's going to succeed, and I think that might be the time when Madame Koi Koi will kill him, when he's attempting to try to rape Amanda. What else again? There's the rapist might be connected to the Oba. I don't know. I think that's well out for me, because I don't know why this connect. That's also a far thing. Why was the connection? Why the whole thing about talking to the Oba? Unless there was some connection between the rapist and there has to be something that's connecting the Oba, the rapist, and the school. All those three things to the village and the people in the school. We are going to probably have to see the connection between Amanda and Madam Koi Koi. We have to see that she can't just be dreaming about Mama Koi Koi just out just like that. There has to be a connection. I It's maybe most likely has to do with her father, because that's the only thing that makes sense why the father is out of the picture. So yeah, those are my own three predictions.
Okay. Why are people who have already made prediction putting your hands back up? All right, Atas.
Vanessa's hand is up first, but my prediction, I was going to say that I think Mother Superior dies, and I hope it's a good death.
It has to be. It has to be. She's actually technically worse than almost everybody because she's providing cover for all of them. It has to be. It would, you know, one of the bad I forgot to add.
My prediction is that Ibukun kills her, but hopefully we'll see, because she hasn't had much reaction really to the rape or the denial or the gaslighting. So I'm hoping she snaps.
One of the bads I forgot to mention was like, I felt like one of the great things about horror is like, you get interesting kills and like, but like, no, the deaths so far have been, I know like we kind of talked about them blacking out, but like, at least if, we found some limbs completely missing or just, spread apart or something like that, just give us variety in these deaths. Let's find one without, come on. Anyway.
Yeah, I forgot one thing. I think, Cynthia's character, and Cynthia is going to talk. She's going to eventually talk in the next concluding part. Yeah.
Cynthia's character. Who is Cynthia?
He meant Rosemary, please. He meant
Hey,
Rosemary.
my God.
He meant Rosemary.
Cynthia, please talk.
Interesting.
Cynthia, please talk.
No. I don't want to talk. I'm just saying. He said he meant Rosemary. Oh, shut up!
It's my time for my one last wild theory, because I feel like I'm the only one who is taking it there. You people are being too stayed. I forgot that Mr. C asked who is Ibukun's parents. My last wild theory, and everybody walk with me. Mother Superior is Ibukun's mother.
Let her finish.
What's that? What is your issue?
There's no way judging.
Nothing has happened. Otherwise, wouldn't they have come? Nothing has happened because she's his mother. and
they have no way of communicating with her, so they don't know what has happened yet. But
But you know who the father is? The Reverend Father that she was speaking with on the phone in the beginning. I'm sorry, there was a bit of flirtation.
So the Reverend Father and the Reverend Mother.
There was a bit of flirtation on the phone.
Add spices, cook.
There was a bit of flirtation on the phone, you guys.
Oh my God.
Walk with me.
You're your own. I'm sorry.
I don't work with asylum mates. All right. Okay. All right. Thanks. This is fun. Let's go into our summaries. Wow. All right. Okay. Let's make them quick, please. You guys have tried, to be honest, but it has been a fun space. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Vanessa, kick us off with your summary.
Okay, my summary. This was a bit underwhelming, especially as something that was purported to be horror. It wasn't scary nor horrific. There was too much of a focus on the sexual assault, especially the one that had nothing to do with the origin. Also, I get it. They split it into, it really didn't need to be split into, because then, I don't know, there was a bunch of exposition that could have been cut apart and scenes that dragged on for too long that could have been made shorter to make this film fit into one.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Vanessa. Richard, do you want to give us your summary?
Yeah, I enjoyed this. I like the fact that we're making stories about our urban legends. I think that I'm happy for the new actors, and I also like some of the performances and some of the camera work. And just on the side note, that because I know the struggles of people actually producing, trying to produce anything in Nigeria, it does kind of some of the just touching on certain things, Like we just see the assembly ones, the dormitory ones, the classroom ones. I just know that those are limitations for the people that are trying to put the things together based on the finances that they had. I think I even have a video I posted on my page where the producer was actually talking about that they couldn't even pay some people the actual fee and had to strike a deal with them. So most of the time, maybe that's also what changes these stories. Like the way we expect them, they have to be rewritten to fit what goes into the production. But yeah, overall, I think a lot of people, ordinary audience people, not necessarily people in the room, like enjoyed watching it, and I hope the second part just lives up to what the expectation it has built up. That's all.
All right, Sharika, do you want to give us your summary?
I don't really, not really. I'll just pass. It's been interesting just to listen to everyone. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Wayne's Ranch.
Okay. Summary. First of all, if we're going to cook films like um, not film series like Far From Home, then I think we have to laud this one at least. It feels like I said in the beginning, a very more authentic take on a Nigerian experience. One or two issues there. I would recommend this. I also don't think it should have been two parts. Doesn't make sense that we have to wait. But generally the story is okay. The acting is above par. And the only thing that you just tell whoever you're watching, they're sending this film to watch is this is not horror. It's just a nice story. Apart from that, yeah, it's also
All right, no, thanks. Thanks, Wayne's Ranch. Atash.
So I enjoyed the originality of the story and that they're telling a new story because, it's been needed and it's refreshing. I enjoyed the acting. I am very hesitant to give a summary one way or the other. I'm hoping part two gives us a reason for why it's two parts. And why part one was sort of underwhelming in the horror department. So it's going to really need to kick ass. But overall, so far, it feels like an underwhelming attempt on horror, and it suffers from Nollywood's gratuitous use of rape and sexual assault while very much minimalizing the quote unquote punishment or retribution that is being, I guess, served or shown here. So it's, I'm not going to give it a rating right now, but it's hovering around a 6 or 7, depending on what happens in part 2.
Okay. Thanks, Ataz. Cynthia.
Yeah, so for me, in summary, my feelings towards the guys' characters had nothing to do with them, their acting or their character development. It was just an emotion that came from me watching the rape scene. So I felt I was gaslighted to be emotional while watching this movie. I did not recognize the tale. Okay, it's still on me. I feel like I learned too much about Maloma village rather than St. Augustine Secondary School. They had too much exposition. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to see how Amanda is related to Madame Koi Koi. If not, I don't know, Sha, but she just has to be. She just has to be. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Thanks, Cynthia. Mrs. C.
Yeah, I think my summary is watch out for part 2. Let me see what happens then.
Okay. Yeah, for me, I enjoyed a lot of this. The first time I watched it, it was like at 75% concentration, and I enjoyed a lot of it. I love the feel. I enjoyed a lot of the shots. On my second watch, I think sometimes I said the worst thing you can give Nollywood films is your attention. Some things start to fall a bit, and some of the dialogue just stick out a little more. But I think overall, I'm enjoying it. I'm very much wary of how we're going to land this plane, given it's Nollywood. But I am overall, happy that it exists. All right, but all right. Oh wow, knew it was going to be a long one, but thanks everybody who's been with us. Thanks for joining us. Obviously, I don't have to tell you what we're doing next week. We meet again, but the part 2 of the Origin Madame Koi drops on Tuesday, so watch out for it when it does, and we will see you next week. Take care of yourselves. We'll watch out for those predictions and see how much Vanessa's predictions come
You
true.
guys don't realize that Nollywood might just do me.
I guarantee you, some of the tweets we're going to have are going to be crazier than Vanessa's. I can almost guarantee that it's almost going to happen. But anyway, that's how we do. All right, take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the episode. If you enjoyed listening and would like to join live, just follow us on Twitter at Iroko Critic and join us every Sunday 6 p.m. West African time on our spaces.